Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. Some much-needed financial relief is on the way for millions of Australians from today. Christina Hearn has more.
Around 6 million low-income earners will receive a one-off cost-of-living payment of $250, which will hit bank accounts today. Those eligible include pensioners, veterans, welfare recipients and concession card holders. It's all part of a multi-billion-dollar package announced in last month's federal budget. It comes as the latest inflation data is set to be revealed. The Australian Bureau of Statistics to release the Consumer Price Index for the 3 months to March, expected to be at a 15-year high. Interest rates could rise as a result, with the Reserve Bank to meet next week.
An epidemiologist has warned of an Omicron subvariant that could soon reach South Australia, and it's the most contagious yet. Professor Adrian Esterman says it's 25% more transmissible than the current dominant Omicron strain.
A few weeks, it will probably take over from BA.2. What that means is that potentially we'll see another peak after the second Omicron wave. If I was running the government, I'd be considering reinstating face mask mandates.
Evidence so far suggests the symptoms are not more severe. We recorded 3,463 COVID cases yesterday and 7 deaths. A return airfare for less than $20 is on offer to young people in the UK and Ireland who are keen to take a working holiday in Adelaide. The South Australian Tourism Commission will give 200 British or Irish citizens the chance to become a new kind of £10 POM. That's all it will cost them to head down under to fill labour shortages. Recipients must have a working holiday visa and be able to travel here before September 30 this year. The Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial continues in the US. Depp's legal team has called a clinical and forensic psychologist to the stand, the woman saying Ms Heard has 2 personality disorders. Former US President Donald Trump has criticised current President Joe Biden for his management of international relations, including how he's handled the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Mr Trump has told Sky's Piers Morgan the country's in trouble and something needs to happen.
And if it doesn't happen, and if we don't have smart leadership, you're going to end up with no world. The world is going to be blown to pieces. We have stupid people now running our country. The world is going to be blown to pieces.
Government House will go to the dogs today. It will celebrate International Guide Dog Day by hosting a Labrador field garden party. The party will recognise 89 dogs that are in various stages of their career to support people living with low vision, blindness and other specialised needs. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Adelaide forward Riley Thilthorpe has avoided any serious damage to his knee after hurting it on the weekend in the Sandful. The club is now hopeful he may even be available this weekend. Well, across at Alberton, things are looking brighter for Port Adelaide after the club recorded its first win for the season. It was double delight for Kane Farrell, who returned for his first match since a serious knee injury from last season, and he told Rowie it was a nice moment when he kicked a goal against West Coast.
Lucky to kick a goal during the day, it was just even better with the reaction from everyone around that came around, and even the backs even got down there, I think, to give me a pat on the back, so that was always good to be around.
And the AFL has announced Jack Ginnivan has won the NAB Rising Star Award after his 5-goal performance against Essendon in the Anzac Day clash on Monday. To soccer, the Champions League semi-finals are underway with Manchester City leading Real Madrid 4-2 with about 15 minutes to play in the opening leg. City had a dream start at the Etihad, taking the lead inside the opening 2 minutes.
Have a ball, and it's a goal. The diving header from Kevin De Bruyne. What a start for Manchester City. 90 seconds, it's in the net.
Yeah, that call there on Stan Sport. And Wimbledon has confirmed players won't need to be vaccinated, clearing Novak Djokovic to compete at the major tournament. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now the FIVEaa forecast.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
A partly cloudy Wednesday on the way, 23. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 27. Friday showers, 22 degrees. Right now it's 17. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Don't it always always seem to go, that you don't know what you've got till it's gone.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
And they charge the people $1.50 just to see them.
5 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. These short weeks, you don't get used to it, do you? Suddenly we're already at Wednesday. Big program on the way. Sean Fuster's going to join us after 7:30. We'll go around the courts with Sean. He was in court yesterday when the first of these troubled people involved in the gang violence in Adelaide arrived in court. Some of them didn't turn up, just slept in, decided it wasn't for them. I don't know how that's going to go. Not well, I'd suspect, but Sean will break it down for us after 7:30 today. The Premier of South Australia, Peter Manascus, on. We'll talk to him about doing the CEO sleepout, and also Rebecca Sharkey, the member for Mayo, will join us. Independent politics is in vogue suddenly in South Australia at the moment. Some of it's by design, some by mismanagement, but I think a lot of it is owed to her legacy, and one that the people in the hills will shout loud about. We'll talk to her about the federal election after 8 o'clock today. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, folks. The CEO sleepout coming up again. I did that last year, but it was a bit of a shambles, frankly.
So you weren't allowed out, were you?
No, I had to do it at home.
Mm.
So it was
on the couch,
camping.
Or yeah,
in the tent. In the backyard.
It's not really the same, is it?
No. Well, it's going to be back to its rigorous best this year, with people actually doing it in public settings like all of the poor homeless people in town do. I wonder what the numbers are at now. It got up to about 4,000 a few years ago.
You'd have to think, just infer that as a result of the last 2 years and job losses and things, it'd have to be higher, wouldn't it? We'd be going through a worse period, I'd imagine now, or maybe 12 months ago it peaked. But,
I'm not sure.
But relative to previous years, you'd think we were in a bad pit right now of people without accommodation and lodgings.
Part of the problem with all this stuff is, and this is where, a lot of good human things have sort of fallen by the wayside, was my entry point for knowing those figures off the top of my head used to be doing things like the Undie Drive.
Mm.
It was a result of having more frequent contact with the Hutt Street Centre, and we'll be getting that back up and running, though.
Absolutely, we will. Yeah, everything will be back.
Mm.
Like those sorts of things haven't died; they were just on hiatus.
Yeah,
but that's going to be happening. I think Best of SA is going to be back this year as well.
Yes,
I don't know if I meant to talk about that yet, but we'll stuff it at 6:08. I think the rules are different before 6:30.
Oh, you can say all sorts of things before 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Or before 6:30.
We've proven that.
Defamation.
Yep. Different laws, apparently.
You know what story I'm really into today? The return of the £10 POMs.
Yep.
This is a cracking story. We're going to be doing more on this later on. Core blimey, return of the £10 POMs, says the Tiser today on page 8. Now, these aren't your sort of permanent resident POMs, but the SA Tourism Commission, they're providing 300 return trips to Adelaide for just $30, which is, in the modern money, about £10.
That's amazing.
But
so they're getting a whole bunch of backpackers here.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do have a $150 TV shopping network voucher to give away. We'd love to hear from someone who is an original £10 POM, or their family were the original £10 POMs, as it were, after 6:30 today. If you want to tell us your story of how you arrived in Adelaide, your family, we'd really like to hear it, and we'll give someone a $150 TV shopping network voucher.
I reckon a lot of our listeners would be £10 POMs.
I think so too.
We've got a really big audience in Elizabeth and Salisbury, and that's the spiritual home of the £10 POMs here in Australia. One thing I don't know, was it just POMs, or was it people across Great Britain who were eligible?
It's a great question.
Were there £10 Irish?
£10 Scots.
£10 Scots.
Great question, mate. We've got one listening that can clarify.
£10 Welsh.
Yeah, 82230000. If you just take 2 minutes to tell us your family story on arriving to Adelaide as a £10 POM. We'd love to hear it this morning.
Cornwall should really be a standalone part of England, I think.
I think a lot of people from Cornwall think the same thing, don't they?
There's a guy called F. Morton Nance, who was a great Cornish nationalist. He wrote a really good dictionary of Cornish words. He was trying to make Cornish a standalone language. Bit of a mouthful.
Sort of standalone a bit for a while.
Yeah.
Various parts were.
Yeah.
When do we talk about Trump and Piers Morgan? Because I watched it last night.
That's all you want to talk about, isn't it? I can tell you're champing in the bit.
All night, I thought, I can't wait to get in to talk to you about this. Should we do a little bit now, or wait till after 7 o'clock?
We'll do a little bit now.
Okay, with this caveat, 99% of everyone listening has made up their decision on Donald Trump. So there's no point trying to have an intellectual discussion in some ways, because people either will go, well, the interview said everything I hate about the bloke, or this is why he should still be the president of the US. Putting all that to one side, I actually thought it was an exceptional performance from him. It was strong.
Me too.
And the strongest he was on Ukraine, where I 100% believe him that we wouldn't be in this conflict if he was the president of the United States.
I agree completely.
And the weakest he was prattling on still about the election being stolen.
Oh, I thought good on Piers Morgan for just getting so in his face and under his grill about that. It makes Trump look utterly delusional, and that's the part of it that makes him look really dangerous.
Yeah.
And the fact that he takes no moral responsibility for what happened at the Capitol. I mean, the Mitch McConnell stuff that Morgan was reading to him is devastating. It's 100% true. But having said all that, in a global sense, yeah. The other thing I thought too was, compared to Biden and compared to Kamala Harris, wherever she might be at the moment, Trump is so clearly the winner of the next election, should he run against either of them. He would wipe the floor with them.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Wipe the floor with them.
Without a doubt. His problem is, and I reckon it came through, maybe because it's on his mind, he says to Piers Morgan jokingly at one point, I think you'd beat Joe Biden right now.
Yeah.
And the biggest risk to Donald Trump is every Republican that potentially will run that has any sort of ambition is thinking, I can get 8 years right now and it's never going to be easier. All I need to do is become the Republican nominee. And your pitch is, why would you put in a Republican for 4 when you can have one for 8?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's Trump's problem. It's not Joe Biden.
No.
And on the strength of what we saw last night, he's a clarity of message and ability to communicate.
Particularly on the economy too.
Yep.
Like where he's talking about the price of gasoline. When I was president, it was $2. It was $1.67. It was $1.57. Now they're paying $3, $4, $5, $6. $6 for gasoline.
Yeah.
And there's so many great bits in it. And the stuff about his meeting with the Queen.
Oh my God. He tells a story in the interview about meeting the Queen and Camilla, because he's really praising her. He doesn't like Harry and Meghan. He thinks they're a waste of space. But he loves the Queen and he loves Camilla. And he was saying that he was in a meeting sitting at some event between the two of them, and he was getting on great with the Queen. I'm getting great with the Queen. And at one point I said, Queen!
He just calls her Queen.
I got to talk to Camilla.
Hey, Queen.
Hey, you, Queen. According to his retelling of the story, he just calls her Queen.
I didn't realise he had such a sort of, almost like a Brooklyn accent at times.
Yeah,
he talked.
Oh, completely.
Real New York accent.
Real New York.
But that bit there, he always said like he was drifting into sort of Martin Scorsese sort of character territory. Yeah, I said, hey, Queen. But
if you saw it, folks, we'd like to hear what your thoughts on it are. 8223 text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. But it does, in a political sense, it underscored how ineffective Joe Biden is as a communicator and a leader right now, I thought.
Oh, completely. And, you know, I think that Trump is one of the most dangerous people, though, that history's seen. I mean, what he tried to do, he effectively tried to steal the election. It was a total perversion of democracy. And then he was quite happy not just to turn a blind eye, but to egg on those half-wits who wanted to kill people. They wanted to kill elected members.
Pelosi.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Pence. The vice president of the United States. They had a noose ready for him. Then they're Trump's people.
Yep.
Nothing's going to erase that. But he could actually win the next election very easily, fair and square.
15 minutes after 6, our number is 8223 You can text us too on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Love you being part of the show. Already some good texts coming in. Like Joe's, who says the great Jimmy Barnes was a £10 Scot.
Yeah. One of our mates here in sales, Paul, he texted me before saying he's a £10 Pom and his wife is a £10 Scot.
Well, Paul, you know the rules, mate. You can't win the TV shopping network voucher.
No, exactly.
That's insider trading. Exactly right.
So I got myself a TV voucher.
Paul, come on.
Lovely.
15 after 6 news headlines in a moment.
Hi, Jess Trengove here, Olympic runner and proud Southside Suzuki ambassador. Being a mum and juggling a hectic training schedule means I have to rely on a great team, and that's why I trust Crystal and her team at Southside Suzuki. Southside Suzuki offers a huge selection of new and demonstrator models, including my pick, the bold and sporty Vitara. So for great deals and friendly service you can trust, visit Southside Suzuki today. Tell them Jess sent you.
Life's a beach, Southside Suzuki.
At Lordman and Pank, we've made it even easier for you to get great value on the brands you love with simple packages across the entire collection. Right now, get a complete pair of single vision glasses from $289, and multifocal glasses are also available at package prices. You can even get 30% off your second pair when purchased from the packages range. Offer only available in selected stores. Further T&Cs and exclusions apply. See staff for details. Lordman and Pank, we care for eyes.
Centennial Park in Pasadena has views from the hills to the ocean. It's a place for the living, a welcome sanctuary where life is contemplated, cherished and celebrated.
The gardens are beautiful. It is such a serene and special place. And look, you know, people have studied this. Nature is grounding. William Morris was one of the people who studied that. Nature is so grounding, particularly during times of loss. And Centennial Park provides an emotional anchor point. It's a space to contemplate life amongst stunning gardens.
The beautiful setting caters to all cultures with spaces for funeral and memorial services as well as brand new function rooms for after-service gatherings for friends and family. It offers traditional or contemporary burial or ashes memorial positions.
Now, the new Wildflowers Cafe welcomes the community for coffee or a meal 7 days a week, and everyone is welcome to visit the beautiful Centennial Park grounds.
Centennial Park are here to help with planning you or a loved one's end-of-life choices. To find out more or arrange a tour, call 8276 6011 or visit centennialpark.org.
Cheapest Chips. There's mother loving deals at Cheapest Chips, just in time for Mother's Day. From the garden to the kitchen and everything in between, Cheapest Chips has made it so easy to spoil mum. Plus, you could win her a $1,000 gift pack. Just go to cheapestchips.com or Facebook to enter. Get to your local Cheapest Chips for amazing catalogue specials out this Wednesday. It's bursting with mother loving deals. So gift cheaper and live cheaper at Cheapest Chips.
Prefer Australian owned? Want to support local businesses? Believe in community spirit? Want a deal on your energy? Of course you do! So, should you switch to Lumo SA? Of course you should! We're 100% Australian owned with a rewards program full of local finds. We're actively helping communities and offering amazing energy deals to boot. Call 131 5866 or search Lumo. SA residential customers only. Lumo Energy SA not available in all areas. Eligibility criteria and conditions apply. See website for details.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 6, great text coming through on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line. We'll get to some more of them after 6:30. Thoughts on a range of subject matters from Trump's appearance last night on the Piers Morgan program to homelessness to the Johnny Depp trial. We'll read them out after 6:30. News headlines on this Wednesday morning include police still hunting for one of the men wanted over the fatal gang war stabbing on North Terrace on Monday morning. A 25-year-old Victorian man died from multiple stab wounds after being attacked by 3 men. Police know the identity of 2 of the males. The third remains on the run. The prime suspect refused to appear in court yesterday, instead going back to sleep in his cell.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? It shows total contempt, total disregard for authority, total failure to recognise just how much strife he's in too. Just extraordinary.
Tensions have boiled over at South Australia's highest security prison. It's been revealed inmates ripped sinks and metal sheets off walls and threw rubbish during a riot at Yatala Prison on Saturday. The prison guard union's Natasha Brown says staff shortages due to COVID and isolation requirements are to blame.
Due to a lack of staffing, unfortunately, lockdowns, which previously were rare occurrences, are becoming more and more common. And unless the understaffing issue is addressed, we're going to see more lockdowns and more prisoner disturbances as a result.
That's pretty wild, isn't it?
The picture is unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah. Crazy.
They just tore the joint apart. Not getting a lot of sympathy from the outside, I suspect.
No. They've banned smoking there too now.
It's totally smoke-free, is it?
Totally smoke-free. Although I think that came in last year. Or was it this year? We were later to the party in South Australia because it's banned everywhere else in the country.
Geez, that would have been a rough few weeks for the security guards.
You get Nicorettes, though.
Does that help?
I don't think so.
The Prime Minister will pledge 450,000 new jobs in regional Australia over the next 5 years. Scott Morrison's election pitch will shift back to the economy on the same day the latest inflation data is released. It's going to be interesting. Consumer prices for the 3 months to March are expected to rise, mainly driven by higher petrol costs. But the pressures of inflation are broader than that, and they're global at the moment. It's an irresistible force that whoever forms government's going to have to start to reckon with very, very quickly.
I know we said this yesterday with Phil, but it feels to me like this election has been going forever. It's only been going for just over a fortnight.
Yeah.
Well, it's extraordinary. And like reading this is the lead story in The Australian. Stealth carbon tax warning. Labor has been accused of planning a carbon tax by stealth with its policy to cut emissions, blah, blah, blah. So much of the discussion in the election is one side denying that they're going to do something that their opponents have just accused them of.
Yep.
It's like this shadow boxing exercise.
Oh, totally. So much time is spent in federal politics discussing policies that each side doesn't have.
Yeah.
They're going to get rid of Medicare.
Yeah.
They're going to introduce a carbon tax. All right.
What about the biggest lie of all, the cashless welfare card for every pensioner in Australia?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what's this whole Medicare is going to be sold or downgraded? Like, every time I pull out my Medicare card, I'm astonished that I keep getting stuff for free, even though I could probably afford to pay a bit for most of it.
It is.
This country is utterly stuffed when it comes to the extent to which scare campaigns are now the norm.
Yep. And you know what? I think that this is an endorsement of the fixed 4-year term, frankly, that we have in South Australia, where you get a clear delineation between normal run of business and an election campaign. Because in a federal election, where the cycle is determined by the government and it can be short or long, you're sort of perpetually in campaign mode.
Yeah.
So that's why it feels like it's been going forever. Because, well, Labor certainly have been worried, well, they could call it at any time. We can't take the foot off the pedal. So it starts a lot further out. Where in South Australia, you go, okay, it'll be in March, and we know by January things will ramp up of that year.
So there's a bit of a tension here, though, because like we're a country that values free speech. But I actually think, I'm not entirely sure if it should be legal for like political opponents to say, do not vote for the other guy because he will take your car off you. That he has a secret policy to repossess every car in the country. And I mean, because I think some of the things that have been said on both sides are comparable to that. And it just becomes like, well, just confuse people on the periphery of politics are the ones who end up deciding who runs the country.
Yeah, it's ludicrous. Network 10 will attempt to return to broadcasting AFL, teaming up with their streaming partner, Paramount Plus. The reports they're putting together a joint bid that could lead to them splitting the 9 games per round between streaming and free-to-air broadcasts. 10 previously combined with other networks to show games in 2 earlier broadcast deals before the 7 network took over. There's going to be a lot of stories like this that come out while there's the negotiation, both public and private, that goes on with regard to the AFL rights.
Yeah, it's ages since Channel 10 had it, isn't it?
It is. But yeah, they got Paramount.
It used to be a split thing with the finals.
That's right. Yeah, the multiple networks split it, which is sort of happens around the world. But
it was 10 and 7.
I wouldn't read anything into these sorts of things just yet, because there's going to be a lot that goes back and forth. All right, it's 24 minutes after 6. Let's have a look at the weather for today. It's right now 16.7 degrees outside, heading for a top of 23. Tomorrow's 27, and then it starts to rain in a pretty significant way on Friday, up to 10 mils of rain forecast and a top of 22. Some lingering showers Saturday and 3 mils for a top of 19. And Sunday we'll get to just 19 as well.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
Hey, it's Callum here. Whether you're buying your first Mazda, trading your old vehicle, or getting your car serviced, take it from me. You cannot go wrong with the team at Edwardstown Mazda. Right now, there's phenomenal savings on new, demo, and used Mazdas, including the Mazda 3 G20 Pure from $29,919 drive away, or CX-5 Max Sport from $42,033 drive away.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au. LMVD 207428.
Piers Morgan joins Sky News Australia.
That's right, Piers Morgan Uncensored. It's my new show where people can speak their mind.
Sorry, Piers, some people don't identify as people.
It's a place for big opinions.
Sorry, that's fattest.
For meaty debates.
Offensive for vegans.
Well, it's gone nuts.
Nuts could be sexist and offensive.
Piers Morgan Uncensored, Tuesday to Friday, 8:30 p.m. on Sky News Australia. Watch on Foxtel, stream on Flash.
The Fast 800 is a game changer for weight loss and healthy living. Backed by Dr. Michael Mosley and using the latest scientific research, this 12-week online program provides a step-by-step guide for better health, including daily meal plans, over 500 tasty recipes, and exercise plans that can be done in your living room. Sign up for a 7-day free trial at the Fast 800 program and get 20% off using our exclusive code FAST20 at thefast800.com. T's and C's apply.
Here at Discovery Holiday Parks, we think nature's pretty neat. Like 92% of the time. Or right up until you need Wi-Fi. A warm shower, soap and a kitchen sink too. And between us, having power and a barbecue won't hurt you either. That's why Discovery Holiday Parks is all about outdoorsy views and creature comforts too. It's nature made comfy. Book your cabin or site today at discoveryholidayparks.com.au.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 6, Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Look, the world is changing. We know that. The vaccine laws are being relaxed, not just here in South Australia, but the country, the world. And so it turns. I mean, you remember a few months ago, the farce, the debacle that we had at the Australian Open with Novak Djokovic. He was going to play, then he wasn't going to play. We had that sort of week-long court case that was going on. And now Wimbledon has come out and said that he is free to play. They're not going to have it that you have to be vaccinated to play in the Grand Slam, as it was the case here at the Australian Open. Here's Sally Bolton, one of the organisers for Wimbledon, talking about that.
The requirements set out by government to enter the UK do not include mandatory vaccination, and therefore, whilst of course it is encouraged, it will not be a condition of entry to compete at the championships this year.
So there you have it. I guess now the big question is, how is he going to be received?
We can't ban all the Russians and the anti-vaxxers, can you? Because there wouldn't be a tournament.
No, well, it'd be good for Australia.
Yeah, that's right.
Great for Australia. The Woodies might get back together.
Or they might win the singles. With who's left. I actually think it's reasonable.
Yeah.
We're at a time now. It's time to talk about getting rid of mandates.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were there for a reason. They were there to stop the hospital system being overwhelmed, and they were there to try to compel without making it illegal. But the point was it was almost like a PR campaign in favour of the vaccination program to say, listen, you're going to miss out on a hell of a lot of good fun stuff when all this is over if you're not vaccinated.
Yep.
And it made a lot of people go, well, all right, I suppose. And the good thing about it too was it made people who were wavering look into it and go, Well, actually, the odds are pretty good. I reckon I'm going to survive the vaccine more than I'd survive the coronavirus.
Spot on, Dave. I couldn't agree more. And if unless you made it that way, we probably would have had vaccine rates at about 50%. You know, if
well, you look across Western Europe and they're still there.
Yeah, exactly right. So, you know, we understand why it's happened. But like you, to your point, Will, I think...
You can't... I mean, in the UK right now, you can have COVID and go to work.
Yeah.
There is no requirement for you to not... Like, so if it is so unserious, you can't be then forcing people... To be vaccinated to participate in life.
Yes.
If you're saying, well, you can turn up to work with it. I mean,
yeah, that's right.
And
to your question, though, Tom, I reckon he'll still cop plenty.
I think so too.
But the thing is, he's annoying on several levels.
Oh, at least.
Yeah, Novak's he's a fully rounded pain in the back. Yeah, backside.
Yeah, I think he's just a deeply unpleasant sports person.
He's got many strings to his bow when it comes to being a rhymes with anchor. So, hitting ball boys with tennis balls, things like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be intriguing. Hey, just as I let you go...
Are they going to send you over to call the tennis at Wimbledon, Rennie? You're a tennis caller here in this country. Time to get T-Ren to Wimbledon.
Yeah, let's go. We'll go together.
Well, I mean...
Let's do the Brekkie show there.
We can hold your microphone or something or other. Doing the Brekkie show from there would be good.
Yeah, that would be good.
Cracking game of soccer this morning. Real Madrid up against Manchester City, Champions League. Those soccer nuts, and I know there are a lot out there. 4-3 to Manchester City.
Wow.
Brilliant game. One of the great games I've seen in a while.
Good stuff, Rennie.
Excellent.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. The South Australian Tourism Commission is bringing back the £10 POM in a bid to attract working holiday makers. 200 return trips to Adelaide for just £10 each, that's around $18, are on offer for young people from the UK and Ireland. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says it's an attractive offer.
It's focused on people who are 18 to 35 years, and they must already have a working holiday visa, and they must travel before the 30th of September this year.
A $250 cost of living payment will start hitting the bank accounts of more than 6 million Australians from today. Welfare recipients, veterans, pensioners and concession card holders are eligible for the one-off cash handout. The pre-election sweetener is part of an $8.5 billion package announced in the March budget. Well, the latest inflation figures will be released later this morning. They're expected to show the cost of living continues to rise. Michael Packey has more.
Inflation in many parts of the world is increasing rapidly, and Australia is no exception. Higher petrol prices are expected to weigh on the latest CPI data, which takes in the cost of goods and services over the 3 months to March. Rising inflation will be a problem for whichever party wins next month's federal election, with the Reserve Bank expected to lift interest rates potentially as early as next Tuesday. The Prime Minister argues Australia's economy is still the envy of the world and will push his campaign back onto jobs.
The number of high school students studying maths has slumped to a new low. Madeline McNeil has the story.
New data published by The Australian shows fewer than 10% of Year 12 students in 2020 chose to study the highest level of mathematics. The Australian Mathematical Sciences Institute report suggests a lack of quality education is contributing to the drop, with up to 40% of maths teachers not qualified to teach the subject. Experts say the skills learned are essential for so many key industries. It should be a wake-up call.
The US Defence Secretary says Ukraine will have international support for the long haul in its battle with Russia. Ministers from 40 countries comprising NATO members and allies met in Germany overnight to discuss the invasion. Lloyd Austin has announced the group will now meet monthly to coordinate their efforts to help Ukraine.
We're all determined to help Ukraine win today and build strength for tomorrow. The work that we've done together in record time has made a huge difference on the battlefield. But we don't have any time to waste, so we've got to move at the speed of war.
A miniature book of poems written by a 13-year-old Charlotte Bronte will be returned to her Yorkshire home after it was bought for $1.73 million at auction. The book is smaller than a playing card. The 15-page manuscript, dated 1829, features 10 unpublished poems. Now Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide is hopeful key forward Riley Thilthorpe is a chance to play this weekend after scans cleared him of any serious damage to his knee. He finished the SANFL game on the weekend against Central on the bench, and there were fears he'd spend significant time on the sidelines. But Head of Player Health and Performance Rehabilitation Tim Parham has told the club's website the news has been positive.
Pleasingly, he's had an MR recently and it's been cleared of any significant structural damage. So we're going to give him every opportunity to sort of get himself right to play and I suppose be a test for this week.
Let's stick with footy. Geelong forward Tom Hawkins admits his own pleading to umpires for free kicks is a bad look, and he's praising the crackdown on umpire dissent.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I mean, I look back at some of the games I've played in and I play with passion and I get frustrated out there, but it's a bad look when we've got, you know, and I've fallen into a trap plenty of times and very guilty of it, but it's just not a very good look when players are just pleading for free kicks.
Hawkins there on Fox Footy. Well, it's full time in the European Champions League for this morning, and it's been an absolute thriller with Manchester City beating Real Madrid 4-3 in the first leg of their semi-final tie. The return leg will be played in Spain. Liverpool will take on Villarreal in the other semi-final tomorrow. And Australia's top tennis players will face off against teams from Germany, France and Belgium in this year's Davis Cup. The Aussies will be based in Hamburg for the group stage in September. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow up to 27, then showers and just 22 on Friday. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 7. Like this initiative from the SATC to get more POMs to Adelaide. It's a sort of a modern reimagining of the £10 POM policy that got so many of our listeners to call Adelaide home permanently. We've got a $150 TV shopping network voucher to give away. And Jeanette has called in from Sellex Beach. Jeanette, good morning to you.
Yes, good morning, guys.
So, Jeanette, when did you come out from England?
No, my husband. He came in 19... Oh, sorry, I think I've still got the radio on.
Well,
that's all right. You can turn it off.
We can hear it.
We can talk amongst ourselves.
So when did he come out, Jeanette?
My husband came out in 1956. He's 78 today.
Oh, happy birthday.
He's just taken our Kelpie for a walk in the dark. And then when he comes back at 9 o'clock, we'll go with the Myponga walkers to Wollonga. They have a walk on Mondays and Wednesdays. Usually they walk around the Myponga Reservoir.
Oh, lovely.
But, he came out in 56 and he's more Aussie than an Aussie. He went on to be a jackaroo. He went to Urbray. And,
really? Urbray High?
Urbray High. Then he went on to work on a station around Wentworth. He said when he went to... came out when he was 12, he went to this little tiny school on York Peninsula and he lost his accent in about a week because he was the only kid there that spoke like a pom.
Really? Which part of England did he grow up in, Jeanette?
Yorkshire, a little place called South Kirby.
Oh, wow, from Yorkshire.
From Yorkshire, yeah. And we've got this plaque that says they can always tell a Yorkshireman, but they can't tell him much. And I say that plaque was written for him. He's a Taurus and a Yorkshireman, and there's only one way to do something, and it's his way.
How long have you been at Sellex? Did you move there early, or did you just choose to retire there?
Mark did artificial breeding board insemination of cattle.
Right.
And then he moved to Myponga to set up his own insemination business.
There's good cattle country down there.
Yeah, we've been here. We were at Myponga for 13 years, and we've been here for 30. We've been married 48 years.
Myponga's so pretty.
He's 78 and he's still doing competition lifesaving. He's won medals at world titles.
Wow.
Yeah, he's amazingly fit.
Well,
yeah.
you wish him a happy birthday from us, Jeanette. You guys have a
Well,
great day.
My only problem is I can't get him to go on a cruise. He said he'd come out on a big ship when he was 12 and he's no wish to go on another one.
Well, maybe you keep working on him. You might eventually get him to convince him to get on board. I'll tell you what.
That's a good life, isn't it?
We will get you. Is a $150 TV Shopping Network voucher. Jeanette, it's coming your way. If you love shopping,
That's a great call.
Love TV Shopping Network, log on, click on, switch on, tvsn.com.au, your ultimate shopping experience. Oh, that's embracing Australia, isn't it? When you come out as a 10-pound pom and you end up as a jackaroo.
You know, my mother-in-law, Kate's mum, she came out from England at the same time. Talking to Roz now, you would not have the faintest idea she had any English background at all.
It's amazing how accents work. So some people lose them, and look, we've got listeners and David Spears and people that they never change. They never get affected.
Well, I think it depends on the accent. I think the Scottish accent seems much harder to shake than the English one. It's sort of like a mega accent, the Scottish accent.
Yeah, mind you, Yorkshire's pretty broad.
Yeah, it's not too far down the road from Scotland either, is it?
Maybe it's a bit about the people, the person too, your personality.
I was always stunned by some certain types of people, particularly from the eastern suburbs, who at uni would have spent, I don't know, 5 hours in London.
Yeah, when they had,
and then come back to the law school talking like they were, Sophie Ellis Bextor, had this sort of completely affected sort of pommy lilt in their voice. Like it was almost like the cultural cringe that Barry Humphries and Robert Hughes used to talk about. They felt, well, for a long time in our line of work in radio, you had to speak what was called received English.
Yeah.
The BBC would train people in what was called received English, and it was a certain type of tertiary educated pronunciation that was regarded as the benchmark for speaking properly.
Hasn't that fallen by the wayside?
Oh, well, we were both employed.
Let's do some text because there's a range of them and on a whole broad sweep of issues as well. Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 044808 1395.
One here from Andrew Will in Blackwood agreeing with you. Yes, Will, 3-year non-fixed terms are laughable, especially with the endless media speculation about when the election will be held. Peter says £10 POM 2022 version needs to get nurses and care workers. We should have incentives for any qualified English-speaking workers in the healthcare and aged care and disability area. One here about the Trump interview. Some people think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence when they vote, to only realise months later that they have regrets. Maybe better the devil you know. Tessa in Paraka seems to be salivating over Johnny Depp. On your Tessa, after the Depp v Heard trial is complete, I reckon Johnny should run for president. Then I'm not sure if it's salivating or raising an eyebrow. Anyway, it's hard to tell sometimes. Sue in Christie's Beach says, we wouldn't need to import workers if we crack down on people on the dole. There's no requirement to look for work or do the courses like in the past. I know 2 people on the dole, both of them are there by choice. I thought the Tizer had a good article last week. See that young bloke, one of the new journos, I can't remember his name. He applied for 20 jobs in 2 hours and he got all of them.
Yeah.
Most of them were menial jobs, but this is it. If you haven't got a job, a menial job is better than no job.
Well, we're at full. We at what people misunderstand a lot that economic term, full employment at the moment, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're basically we are.
Which is an economist's term.
It is, and
it's not real life.
It's not real life. But the problem isn't at the moment the lack of jobs. I don't think anyone's suggesting there's a lack of jobs out there at the moment. There's a lack of people to fill the jobs.
Yeah,
and actually, I think a lot
of. But Sue's right. There is a hardcore of people who just don't want one.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I reckon a few of those. But the problem we've got at the moment is we've got a lack of people to fill jobs, and the wages aren't going up.
Well, that is part of the problem.
That needs to change. Because guess what? Part of the reason some of these places can't hire people is because they can get more money doing other stuff.
I think JobKeeper perverted it too. Like there were periods where people were getting paid extraordinary amounts of money for doing bugger all.
Yeah, not now. I don't think.
No.
A year ago, perhaps.
Yeah.
Andy in Henley Beach has called in. Morning to you, Andy.
Morning, lads. How you going?
Good, mate. So, when did you lose your accent?
G'day, where you going? Hey, listen, I don't have an accent. You guys have got the accent.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Right, I came here. I think this £10 £10 POM thing's a great idea. There is a vast skilled trade shortage in the whole of Australia. I've been here 17 years. I came over in a skilled trades visa, and it's the best thing I've ever done.
What was your skill, Andy? What was the line of work you're in?
I'm still in it. Wallpapering and painting and decorating.
Yeah, right, okay.
Painting and decorating, but specialising in wall coverings, etc.
Yeah, okay.
But massively, Australia needs an input of fresh blood to keep it going into the future.
Yeah.
But the other scenario, you're talking about accents, and I had a real ask to myself. When we came 17 years ago, kids were 9 and 12. As soon as they started school, within, 2 or 3 weeks, they had the Aussie accent.
The kids did.
And the kids, I obviously know us. But the funniest thing we ever, and we did, it lasted for probably a year or so. Every time they brought friends home to the house, they switch automatically to talking like us, Scottish. But when they're at school and when they're on the phone and talking to their friends, instant Aussie accent.
It's amazing, isn't it? The kids are like sponges with language.
There's a social element to it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Good on you, Andy. Lovely
Thanks,
to speak
Andy.
to you, mate.
Great calls.
Yeah, absolutely. 8223 or you can text us on the Telstra Summit Barker text line. Not much good for a chat about accents, though, the old text line.
No.
Let's check traffic, and when we return, police and weather coming up.
Good morning, boys. At Edwardstown, look out for a smash on South Road, just past Dunallen Road as you're heading into the city. Seeing heavy delays there at the moment. Loberthal, Carvey Truck, Woodside Road at Ridge Road. Take care with oil on the road there. And Bellevue Heights, Dobie Pole Works on Shepherd's Hill Road near Ellison Avenue. Speeds at 40, and we've got a lane closed as you're heading towards Sturt Road. Look out for a camera this morning too, Sturt Highway at Mariupol. Friday is now a $2 pie day at OTR. For a limited time, pies and sausage rolls at just $2 every Friday at OTR. T's and C's apply. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Have you thought about where your face mask was made? Remember, not all face masks are made the same. So when it comes to protecting yourself and your family, think PPE Tech. 100% Australian owned and made. PPE Tech manufactures P2 face masks that comfortably seal to your face and filter more than 98% of particles. Now is the time to protect all Australians and support Aussie-made products. Order online to receive up to 40% off and free delivery at ppetech.com.au. That's ppetech.com.au.
If you were to come into an aged care facility and see what I see every day, you'd be heartbroken, you'd be disgusted, and you'd want to make a change too, because our residents deserve more.
It's disgusting that you haven't done your job and fixed staff ratios in aged care, Mr. Morrison. Vote to make aged care staff ratios law and help Samantha and her colleagues provide the best care for our elderly loved ones. Authorised by Elizabeth DeBars, Australian Nursing and Midwifery Federation, SA Branch, Adelaide.
It's always been my happy place. When the old arthritis set in, I thought my gardening days were over. Suffered for a while, actually. Nearly kicked myself when Carol told me about the joint replacement clinic. There's no gap to pay with health insurance and everything's included. Transport, physio, aftercare. They really look after you. Turns out I didn't need to fork out a cent to keep my trowel.
Ask your GP or visit thejointreplacementclinic.com.au. Renewing mobility, restoring life.
Experience the extraordinary. Travel with Shen Yun to discover 5,000 years of wisdom, beauty, drama, and humor live on stage. You're not just watching a performance. You are witnessing a culture reborn. Come see what the modern world has never seen. The beauty and wonder of China before communism. Coming to Adelaide, 10th through the 15th of May. Festival Theatre. Book at shenyun.com or Ticketek.
Cheapest Chips.
There's mother loving deals at Cheapest Chips, just in time for Mother's Day. From the garden to the kitchen and everything in between, Cheapest Chips has made it so easy to spoil mum. Plus, you could win her $1,000 gift pack. Just go to cheapestchips.com or Facebook to enter. Get to your local Cheapest Chips for amazing catalogue specials out this Wednesday. It's bursting with mother loving deals. So gift cheaper and live cheaper at Cheapest Chips.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 to 7, Sean Fuster coming up in the next hour on the program. We'll go around the courts with Sean, the Premier of South Australia, and also the member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey, after 8 o'clock today. Let's check in on the weather. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
So what does Wednesday have in store for us?
Look, dry conditions in the Adelaide area today, although there will be a bit of cloud around. The wind's generally light, looking around the metro area at the moment. The wind direction quite variable and pretty light. Temperature-wise, we had an overnight minimum 15.1 degrees at about 10 to 2, currently sitting on 17 here in the city. We're expecting a maximum temperature of 23 degrees here in the city. Around the suburbs, 23 degrees as well for Noarlunga, Elizabeth and Glenelg. 21 degrees for Mount Barker. Expecting things to get a little bit warmer on Thursday. Still a partly cloudy day, but should remain dry. The wind's picking up just a little bit, and they'll be northeasterly to start off with, tending around a bit northwesterly during the morning. 27 the maximum for Thursday. And for Friday, there's a cold front moving across, and that'll bring some showers, most likely during the afternoon and the evening, and some cooler conditions as well, the maximum just 22 degrees for Friday. Staying on the cool side over the weekend, still a couple of showers around for Saturday, 19 degrees. Chance of a shower around still for Sunday, and 19 degrees as well. And then the temperature slowly rising early next week, 21 for Monday, 22 for Tuesday. Just quickly on the metro waters today, we're forecasting east to northeasterly winds about 10 knots, becoming northerly below 10 knots in the middle of the day, then northeasterly late afternoon. So seas below a metre.
Good on you, Simon. Thank you for that. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. Now, there's been a pursuit after a car was stolen at North Haven. Senior Constable Matt Brown has more details for us. Matt, what happened there at North Haven?
Just after 7 p.m. last night, a victim had his Mitsubishi Lancer stolen after teenagers approached him on Osborne Street at North Haven. Now, one offender produced a knife and demanded the keys to the man's car. The car was last seen heading west on Osborne Road. There were no injuries, but at about 11:30 p.m. Last night as well, Western District Patrol spotted the stolen car travelling north on Morphett Road at Nova Gardens. Now, the car was followed as it turned east onto Anzac Highway and then south onto Morphett Road, then onto Oaklands Road and south on Marion Road. The stolen car was tracked through Edwardstown and successfully road spiked on Raglan Avenue. The car continued driving as it lost 2 tyres, and Star Group officers took over the pursuit and followed the car on South Road for a short time before the car was stopped near the intersection of Adams Street at Torrensville. The driver attempted to run away, so he was stopped a short distance away and arrested. And so the driver, a 17-year-old boy from Mile End, was charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use of a motor vehicle, and dangerous driving to escape a police pursuit. And his passenger, a 15-year-old boy from Ottaway, was charged with aggravated robbery and illegal use. Now, both refused bail to appear in court today. So some good work all around there by everybody out on the road.
So, Matt, just double-checking, these 2 yahoos got from Edwardstown to Torrensville on 2 tyres?
That's right. So, despite having the 2 tyres spiked, still made it all that way. So you follow the grooves that the rims wore in. Yeah,
exactly. You just follow the grooves in the bitumen.
Wow,
unbelievable! Pretty wild night. Well done by the coppers too. And Matt, also, there's been a crash on South Road at Edwardstown.
That's right, a brief traffic update for everybody. Police and emergency services are at the scene of a 2-car crash on South Road at Edwardstown near Dunallen Road, I think just outside the Bunnings there. No reports of serious injuries, but traffic's down to 1 lane for both directions, so it should be cleared up within about half an hour or so, but just please avoid the area if you can.
Good stuff. Tell you what, we need a special episode of Edwardstown CSI after that segment. Good on you, Matt. Thanks.
That's amazing. 7 minutes to 7.
We have brothers and sisters who are suffering in our industry, who are in Ukraine or who have managed to escape it, whose homes and families are at risk, and civilians at large who are being shelled and shot at and killed and made homeless without power, without water, without food. It is a really shocking time to be the European 2.5 hours flight away from Ukraine.
That's Benedict Cumberbatch, who is out at the moment promoting his new film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. He is in the very real world inviting a Ukrainian family into his home in the UK to live, a refugee family. He's using his time in the spotlight out promoting his film as an opportunity to talk about the plight of Ukrainians and the refugees, and asking people to do similar, open up their doors and do some of the heavy lifting. So much of it's being done in neighbouring countries like Poland at the moment.
Poland's taken more than 50% of the refugees, hasn't it?
Oh, it's millions of people.
Yeah.
I saw a statistic yesterday that they've had 200,000 Ukrainian kids enrol in school in the last...
200,000?
Yeah, 200,000, and there's somewhere in the order of another 300,000 that just are there that haven't enrolled yet.
My God.
So we 500,000 kids that suddenly get put into the education system.
Poland's reasonably affluent, isn't it?
It's okay, yeah. Not compared to...
Germany, say.
Germany and France and England, but it's in the next tier.
It's no Albania.
No, it's no.
Yeah,
It's no Albania.
But the reason I asked that question is, how can it cope, though, with that sudden whack on its infrastructure?
It's going to be tough. You think of it in terms of we're pretty affluent. I don't know how we'd go with it. How would we go with 2 million people turn up and
it makes you
speak part of the language?
It makes you reflect on our knee-jerk sort of hostility to any suggested increase in the immigration intake in this country, doesn't it?
Oh, completely.
Put it in perspective. I mean, the job we did looking after people from Afghanistan who were, often, like in the case of the Hazaras, our allies against the Taliban, and so many people, I'm sure there's people listening now who go, shut up, Pembo, what are you talking about? I think we can do heaps better on the immigration front. But, and I think we should be taking Ukrainians. These people
completely
phenomenal, a perfect value fit with our country.
You know what? That underscores just the most tedious and infuriating part of the modern world is, and this whole issue of Ukrainian refugees in Poland. The Poles get whacked repeatedly by politicians and thought leaders in the European Union for not taking a progressive stance and a whole bunch of politics that you hashtag about. But when it comes to actually doing something that involves refugees and real people, they're the only ones that open their doors.
Yeah, well, that's right. I mean, for all the people, hashtag I stand with Ukraine, are you prepared to have a Ukrainian family move into your back room?
Yeah, exactly right.
That's probably a bigger test than have you changed your avatar on Twitter.
Hey, big shout out to everyone in Adelaide and South Australia today who has taken in and raised a guide dog. Guide Dogs SA in Northern Territory celebrating International Guide Dog Day. With a garden party at Government House today, celebrating guide dogs who have served in the past, which I like. It's sort of a retirement ceremony for guide dogs that have done their bit, and now they're just, they're retired.
Quick funny story. When I moved back here from Sydney to edit the Sunday Mail, this great guy, I hope he's listening, Jim Plouffe, worked at the Tyres. I'd never met him before, and he came in every day with a guide dog.
Yep.
Always had the guide dog with him. I'd only been there for about 8 days. And then anyway, I was down the staff car park my second week, and I saw Jim getting into his car, and I went, wow, that is so inspirational. And I said to the staff the next day, that Jim guy, he's always got the guide dog, yet he can drive. Are you completely stupid? He trains them. I thought he was blind.
You thought it was a miracle.
Maybe he's got some sort of special blindness which precludes you from seeing anything other than approaching vehicles.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking. Certainly, the fact that he seemed to be quite good at writing articles too on the computer.
Very specific condition, that one. The guide dogs have been around since 1957. Costs $50,000 to breed, raise and train every guide dog or assistance dog. So help support a good cause. Guide Dogs SA NT. 2 minutes to 7.
Summer? Bit overrated. Winter's where it's at, especially when it means shopping Harris Scarf's massive May with 40 to 60% off all homewares in Manchester. And let's face it, no one does cosy winter quilts, bedding and blankets quite like they do. In the kitchen, it's comfort food time. Treat yourself to a new slow cooker or air fryer with 15 to 30% off all electrical. Harris Scarf's Massive May. Everything you need to prep for winter at famous Massive May prices. Sale ends Sunday, May 8.
Breaking news at Beaumont's. As well as Australia's biggest range of tiles, Beaumont's now has a range of quality hybrid flooring. Get stunning hybrid timber look or make an impression with magnificent hybrid stone look. With our new quality flooring options, you'll be happy you chose Beaumont's.
Now, during these challenging times, it's nice to reflect on family, especially around Mother's Day. So show your mum your appreciation and keep mum warm this winter by giving her a pair of beautiful, handcrafted, cosy and comfortable Ugg boots from our great friends at Uggs to You.
We love Uggs to You. In fact, this is where I bought Will his pair of debut Ugg boots.
I need to go in and get an updated pair.
Well, you worn them out already?
Yeah.
Well, that's quite a long time since I bought them. That would be getting up to 6 or 7 years.
They're worn by 2 members of the household.
Oh, so your wife's stolen them?
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's different. There's absolutely no reflection on the workmanship of the excellent Uggs to You brand. They've basically just been stolen.
They were literally stolen.
It's an act of theft.
Yeah, totally.
Well, do what I do. Buy 2 pairs, because you can never have too many Ugg boots.
That's a good point.
Uggs to You, they've got a wide range available in many styles, sizes and colours, and they're at wholesale prices.
And what's more, Uggs to You are walking distance from my house.
Yeah, I know.
They're a proud South Australian small family business making their handcrafted Ugg boots on the premises using A-grade Australian sheepskin.
I used to drive past Uggs to You every morning, dropping the kids off at Grange Primary School. Pop in and see Vlass and Mary any time, but if you do it before Mother's Day and you spend more than $100 in the store, you'll receive a free can of waterproof spray valued at $20 while stocks last.
Support local this Mother's Day, Sunday, May 8, and shop at Uggs to You, manufacturers of superior Australian Uggs. They're located at 235 Frederick Road, Seaton. Uggs to who? Uggs to You.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics, but what do you get? Try next-day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda. Just a short drive from the city.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. 2 teenagers have been arrested after they allegedly stole a car at Knife Point at North Haven and took it for a joyride. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a couple of hours later, the Mitsubishi Lancer was spotted on Morfett Road at Nova Gardens.
The car was followed as it turned east onto Anzac Highway and then south onto Morfett Road, then onto Oaklands Road and south on Marion Road. The stolen car was tracked through Edwardstown and successfully road spiked on Raglan Avenue.
The car then continued on 2 tyres, eventually making it to Torrensville. The driver, a 17-year-old boy from Mile End, was charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use and dangerous driving to escape a police pursuit. The passenger, a 15-year-old boy from Ottaway, was also charged. They'll front court today. The £10 POM is back. The South Australian Tourism Commission will offer 200 return trips to Adelaide for just £10 each. That's around $18 for young people from the UK and Ireland. Tourism Minister Zoe Beddison says they're appealing to working holidaymakers.
We're pitching South Australia as a perfect location to live and work, help fill those employment gaps and skills shortages in the city and the regional areas, and of course boost tourism.
People must be a British or Irish citizen, have a working holiday visa and be able to travel to Adelaide before September 30 this year. Low-income earners will see a boost in their bank accounts from today. A one-off $250 payment is being rolled out this week in response to the rising cost of living. The latest Consumer Price Index is being released this morning. CommSec market analyst Tom Petrovsky says it could trigger an interest rate rise earlier than expected.
They're likely to reflect a whole range of rising costs over the course of the last quarter. Everything from what it costs to buy a home to the fuel that we put in our vehicles every day. So we could potentially see inflation, in a best case scenario, around 14-year highs.
A new national standard aiming to reduce the risk of long-term opioid use will encourage doctors to better monitor the use of pain medication. More than 2.5 million people undergo surgery each year, many of whom become reliant on the drugs. Anne Duggan from the Australian Commission on Safety and Quality in Healthcare says opioids can lead to addiction when not managed properly.
It's guiding clinicians and consumers about the steps that need to be taken to ensure patients get the right dose for the right length of time and and there's good communication between the hospital and the GP to make sure that patients get weaned off opioids.
US Vice President Kamala Harris has tested positive for COVID. The White House says she is not a recent close contact of President Joe Biden. And Hollywood ain't afraid of no ghosts. Sony Pictures has announced they're making a second Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Channel 10 is reportedly making a play to secure the footy broadcasting rights, teaming up with Paramount Plus. League executives are in the US this week to listen to their pitch. They're also meeting with Amazon executives. Footy great Lee Matthews says he has a slightly cynical view.
The AFL have a magnificent ability to create an auction whenever the TV rights come up, because really there's a lot of mouths to feed around the AFL industry, whether it's women's or revenue or development or Auskick or all the different things. And so the more money they can get for the TV rights, then the more money they've got to sort of put into various aspects of the game.
Meantime, Hawk Jager O'Meara has been charged with forceful front-on contact by the match review officer and can accept a $2,000 fine with an early plea. Lance Franklin escaped punishment for making contact with the umpire during the Anzac Day clash, and Collingwood's Jack Ginnivan is the round 6 rising star following his superb 5-goal haul against Essendon on Monday. Well, Australia's top tennis players will face off against teams from Germany, France and Belgium in this year's Davis Cup. The Aussies will be based in Hamburg for the group stage in September. Meantime, Wimbledon has confirmed players won't need to be vaccinated, clearing Novak Djokovic to compete at the major. And Manchester City has prevailed in a 7-goal thriller against Real Madrid, winning 4-3 in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final tie. That was in England this morning. The return leg will be played in Spain next week. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete Home Filtration at Telstra Business Awards and Deloitte Fast 50 winners. CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au.
At Clemzig, smash on North East Road near Muller Road. That's as you're heading inbound. Edwardstown, smash on South Road just past Dunwallen Road as you're heading into the city. Seeing heavy delays there at the moment. And Lobethal, Carvey, Truck, Woodside Road and Ridge Road. Take care with all on the road. Detours in place. Busy at the moment, Marion Road near Anzac Highway. And look out for a camera via Vale Road at Tanunda. Give the gift of sport this Mother's Day. At Rebel, they've got 25% off selected women's clothing. Excludes markdowns, outdoor swim, fan gear and accessories. Sport is calling all mums at Rebel. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 27, Friday showers 22. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
The dulcet sounds of Boz Scaggs. Waking you up here at 7 a.m.
I wasn't looking at you as you started speaking then, and then I started thinking, geez, the bloke who speaks in this song sounds awfully like David.
Silk Degrees, one of the albums of the 70s.
8 minutes after 7.
That's what you want to do. You just, get the French onion dip ready, maybe make a pineapple boat, do the angels on horseback, put on your caftan.
Maybe one of those hollowed out breads.
Get your wife. Your wife would put on the caftan, and you would get your pewter beer mug on a chain around your neck with your name engraved on it. They were all the go in the 70s. Put on Boz Scaggs Silk Degrees, and the night was set. A few bottles of Blue Nun on the table.
It's a lot of accessorising going on. I'm not into accessorising.
A lot of those recipes from the 70s that get ridiculed, they're actually delicious. I don't know why they've fallen out of fashion so much.
Well, it is just fashion to some degree, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
The human taste buds changed that much? I don't think
No, they haven't. No, a lot of those things I just described are very tasty.
Coming up this hour on the program, Sean Fuster after 7:30 today. We'll have John Blake on after that, and Peter Malinauskas coming up very shortly. He's doing the CEO Sleepout. In fact, on the premiere, let's get to some of the stories of the morning. And one that's becoming a bit of a debate point is the issue of South Australian students wearing masks. We are now out of step with the rest of the country on this. Students in years 7 to 12, teachers and school staff and all adult visitors must wear masks for the first 4 weeks of term 2 as the state government installs air purifiers. Here's some people's thoughts on this from 9 News last night.
Anything that protects kids is a good thing. I mean, I notice with his school especially, there's been lots of COVID outbreaks.
This guy, who is only in year 5, not very happy to continue wearing the mask in the school.
I think we should still wear them because, still lots of people are still getting it and that.
Which is all fair. It's just now out of kilter with what the Premier has repeatedly says, where he wants us to be in line with the rest of the country.
I don't understand it. I like the quotes from one of the bloke who's fast becoming one of my favourite school principals, Sacred Heart College principal Steve Byrne. He says it's going to create passive resistance from young people. He says you can go to your sports clubs and not wear a mask, but you go to school and you do. There's so many inconsistencies with it. And I don't know, is it air purifiers? Is it some sop to the AEU?
Well, here's Professor Nicholas Spurrier in January this year. Opening doors and opening windows is much more effective than having air purifiers.
Nick Coatsworth, who's an Adelaide bloke, respected doctor until recently. He was the Deputy Commonwealth Chief Medical Officer working under Paul Kelly. He said they don't make absolutely no need for it. But again, this comes down to the point. Does it behave differently in a classroom in Hackham or Salisbury versus a classroom in Parramatta or Brunswick?
We'll have to ask the Premier that in just a few moments' time. A lot of discussion at the start of the program, got a few texts on it as well. The massive interview last night, Donald Trump and Piers Morgan. It was the longest sit-down interview I think it feels like Trump's had since he left the White House. They covered a range of topics. It's a two-parter, so there'll be more on tonight. I think some of the strongest stuff that they discussed was the Ukraine war.
And we have a war that would have never happened if I was president. That war would have never happened.
When the invasion started, you were quite praiseworthy of Vladimir Putin. You said he was a genius. This was a savvy move. That he was going in as a peacemaker.
No, that's the fake news' version. No.
Tell me the truth.
When he built up soldiers on the border, I said, that's a very smart, brilliant move, because I thought he was negotiating. When he went in, I said, no longer a brilliant move.
When you watch what's happening, I mean, do you agree with my assessment that Vladimir Putin is now an evil, genocidal monster?
Yeah, but I also,
You do?
when I look at, I do, sure. Who wouldn't? What's happening is horrible. When you see rockets going into apartment buildings, and there are plenty of people in those buildings, they think they're like the people who moved out. They didn't move. They want to stay because they think they're safe in their apartments. Far more people are dead than you think. When I see all the death and all that destruction, and it's such a stupid war.
I think he was really strong on the Ukraine stuff. That was as good and as actually as presidential as he sounded. And everything he said about his position being stronger than anyone else's in the West and that having a deterrent impact on the decision makers in Russia and China and other places is totally believable.
Well, because he brought an element of unpredictability to the world order. And this is why North Korea thought, hang on, what's this bloke up to? And why I think Putin would have thought twice. And the other point that he made very strongly, even though he put the process in tow, so I think he was a hypocrite talking about it, but the manner in which the US withdrew from Afghanistan and the final sort of process when he wasn't president, he made the point that they pulled the military out first and then left all these people there with no one to defend them.
These things all matter.
Yeah, and he
These
said
are all
after that,
signals.
it was like Moscow would have been watching that going, how easy is this going to be?
The Cuban Missile Crisis, the reason it played out the way it did is because the Russians had made an assessment, they will sink our ships.
Yeah.
Right now, the equivalent has played out by proxy with Ukraine, and Russia said, the US aren't up for this fight. They don't want to be involved in this.
Even though, in terms of military assistance to Ukraine, if you combine every country, Britain, France, Germany...
The US have given more.
The US have given more than every other country in the world combined.
Yep.
So it's the Yanks who are still doing the heavy lifting.
Oh, well, they always will on the...
Despite Trump's criticisms.
Germany doesn't have anything to give, didn't they? When they were going to give
Well,
them
the other
helmets?
thing too, I'm for everyone who's getting misty-eyed about Macron winning in France. You know, the heat-seeking technology inside Russian tanks is all provided by the French?
Yeah. Oh,
just disgraceful.
Central Europe's complicit in this whole Russian situation. Germany have been relying on
because
gas.
the defence industry So much of it is involved selling stuff to the Russians. This is crazy.
Trump had a pretty dire warning about the way things are headed, given the current people that are in charge.
But my point is, if you got a chance again, would we see more of that, Donald Trump, do you think?
Depends on how you're greeted. But if you're greeted unfairly, you have to be tough and you have to fight. I would like that. I would much prefer that. But it depends on how you're greeted. But I would do, and I say this, our country's in trouble. Something has to happen. And if it doesn't happen, and if we don't have smart leadership, you're going to end up with no world. The world is going to be blown to pieces. We have stupid people now running our country. The world is going to be blown to pieces.
A nice cheery thought to start you on Wednesday.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? He made a good point, too, about Putin just waving the N-word around, as he called it. He just keeps threatening nuclear war, and everyone just says, oh, well, Putin does have a point. And Trump said it's been an agreement between our two countries. We don't just do that. As a matter of statecraft, threaten nuclear war on people.
He's done it again this morning.
And no one's enforced it.
He's done a nudge, wink, wink threat to Britain this morning, Putin, about the fact that they've been providing military hardware to attack Russian targets on Russian soil.
There's a scam that's pretty concerning here in Australia that's affecting people. If you got the old Australia Post text where you haven't got a package arriving and it says your package is ready for delivery, click the link for more info. I've gotten them before, and they're obviously scams. The thing that's kicked this into a new gear, there's an official warning that's gone out from Australia Post about, is that they are now appearing alongside genuine texts from Australia Post if you click on that thread in your messages. So when you've gotten past messages from legitimate Australia Post, they'll all be in a thread together, and historically the ones that are from some dodgy scammer will be separate. It'll come through on another thread or with a slightly different name. Now they won't. They'll come through together. They'll all be grouped together in your message inbox because the scam has gotten increasingly sophisticated. So what Australia Post is saying is, one, you've got to be especially careful where they read. And the only way to tell that it's whether it's legitimate or not now is by looking at the link. If the link has been purposely shortened or the words are a bit wrong or it's not the actual Australia Post link, it's probably a scam, something you shouldn't go to. One of them says, don't miss out on your parcel from Ozpost. Another one says, you've got a parcel that's not been collected for 7 days. To redeliver it, $1.99 is required. And then they take you to a fake website, get your details, and they'll steal your information that way. But that's really concerning because one of the easiest ways to tell that something previously was not quite right was because it didn't come through when you had text from the legitimate source. Yeah. And if now you can't tell one from the other, a lot of people are going to be caught out. So just be diligent when receiving those sorts of texts, and if it takes you to some other weird website or it starts asking for information, be sceptical. Let's check traffic. Back with the Premier in just a moment.
Good morning, boys. At Edwardstown, smash on South Road just past Dunwallen Road as you're heading into the city, seeing heavy delays there. At Lobethal, Carvey, Trica, Woodside Road and Ridge Road, take care with all on the road, detours in place. And Bellevue Heights, Stobie Pole Works, Shepherd's Hill Road near Ellison Avenue, speeds at 40, one lane closed heading towards Sturt Road. Busy at the moment, Anzac Highway at South Road, and look out for a camera today, Murray Street at and under. Try new throat gummies from the makers of Soothers. 2 great flavours, lemon and lime and butter menthol. They're the chewy way to coat your throat. Available in supermarkets and pharmacies now. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Join 5AA each night from midnight for Australia Overnight.
Hi, it's Tony Moclair here, host of Australia Overnight. Thrilled and delighted, joined by listeners from 5AA, Adelaide's best radio station.
Tony Moclair takes your calls right through the early hours.
And those listeners contributing to the Australia Overnight program and being part of the larger family.
Catch Australia Overnight.
Welcome aboard 5AA.
Live from midnight on Adelaide's 5AA.
If you've got to keep it cool, you need Budget Car and Truck Rentals, especially if you're in business. Budget Car and Truck Rentals have a fleet of refrigerated vans, trucks and cool rooms standing by to keep your business in business. Transporting or storing flowers, chocolate and all fresh produces. Keep it cool in a refrigerated van, truck or cool room from Budget Car and Truck Rentals. Oh, great for parties too. Call 13 27 27. That's 13 27 27.
Mini Jumbuck, Australia's favourite wool bedding products. Now located in McLaren Vale, Mini Jumbuck has a great range of quality Australian-made wool bedding products to suit all sleepers and all climates. You'll love their extensive range of Australian-made quilts, mattress toppers and pillows too. And remember, Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale also stock a huge range of genuine sheepskin Ugg boots and quality merino wool clothing. For Australia's favourite wool products, call into Mini Jumbuck McLaren Vale, open 7 days.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Hilux from Jarvis Toyota. The tough new Hilux features an upgraded 2.8 litre diesel, delivering 20 kilowatts more power. The Hilux is packed full of Toyota Safety Sense intelligent technology, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, plus 3-year cap price servicing. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux at Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
At AFIVEaa, we're about helping you save to do more. So when you combine 2 or more eligible policies with us, we'll give you a 10% discount on your premiums. With a little extra savings, you can go and do a little more of what you love doing. Talk to AFIVEaa today on 13 50 50 or visit afia.com.au to find out more. AFIVEaa. Get set, go. Terms and conditions apply. Discount doesn't apply to some optional covers, CTP, MAI, health or funeral insurance.
If you're building a home, the Selector Homes Display Village is a great place to start. Your ideas and imagination will flow. There's nothing else quite like it in Adelaide. Different homes for different lifestyles, all in the one location. Walk through the sanctuary. It's simply stunning, with an incredible Jarrah facade, polished concrete floors and a sensational use of space. Explore the Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
"21 minutes after 7, Sean Fuster coming up after 7:30. We'll go around the courts. John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock. But first, it's the Premier of South Australia, Peter Malinauskas. Premier, good morning.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, Dave.
We understand you're doing the Vinnie CEO sleepout, Premier. We're going to get to that shortly, but before we do, we just want to tick off a couple of matters of state. The first one is masks and the inconsistency, because we think that you've done a commendable job saying, well, why do we have one set of rules here in SA and others apply in the eastern states when it comes to COVID? Isn't this an obvious example of an inconsistency now?
It is for the next 4 weeks once school returns, Dave, you're right, which is why... Well, let's go back a step. Top line, I've been working as hard as I can since being elected to try and achieve national consistency where we can. The qualification I've put on that consistently is that we've got to do it where it's safe to do so. And all of the advice that we received at the Emergency Management Council meeting of Cabinet yesterday was to do it prematurely would risk disruption in schools. Now, the fact is this, the timing of our COVID cases has often, in terms of the peaks and the troughs, has often followed what's happened in the eastern states by a week or two. And that has largely rung out to be true throughout the course of this year. And if we prematurely lift masks in schools as schools return, we run the risk that we undo much of the hard work that we've achieved in the state over the last 6 weeks, where we have seen a decline and stabilisation of case numbers. And the consequence of that is disruption in schools in a way that, the students end up being worse off. Now, having said all that, the current status doesn't sit easily with me. The idea that you and I might be able to go to our workplaces and not wear masks, but kids go to school and they do. And when I say kids, we're talking about high school students here. That doesn't sit well with me. It's not natural. It would be incredibly frustrating and annoying to them. But if we can do it for 4 more weeks, then we minimise the likelihood of school closures, which will still remain possible once the mask mandate is lifted. But nonetheless, we can mitigate the risk of it, which is a better outcome for parents, because if we start seeing lots of school closures, that causes even more inconvenience for families, for parents, workers, businesses and the like.
Premier, what do you know about air purifiers that Professor Nicola Spurrier doesn't? Because she said previously that you're better off just opening doors and windows in classrooms. That's more useful than installing an air purifier.
Well, ventilation is still the optimal solution. It's the most cost-effective. But the problem is that we've got a number of settings in certain schools where amendments or changes can't be made to the window arrangements, to the ventilation arrangements naturally, that then do mean that the installation of air purifiers is of great benefit. And as you know, back in October last year, before the borders opened up and the virus was let in, we were advocating that we should see the greater acquisition of air purifiers. The Victorian government had done it, the New South Wales government had done it, but we weren't doing it here in South Australia at the same pace. Now, that was an opportunity lost then, but...
So she got it wrong?
What I'm saying is I do think the former state government got it wrong about the acquisition of air purifiers, yes, and that's why we're doing it now. In fact, we commenced a procurement of them on the 30th of March, and that will see the acquisition of an additional 1,000 of them, but that's on top of the work that we're doing in approximately 600 instances of making changes to ventilation arrangements in a more natural context in classrooms. We think that work should have been done a long time ago. We're expediting it now, and then when that work is complete, it makes it easier for us to lift the mask mandate in high schools.
Premier, we've done a lot of work here at 5AA with Vinnies. They do a terrific organisation across so many different areas of the community, helping out people who have fallen through the cracks. You're going to be taking part this year in the Vinnies CEO Sleepout on Thursday, June 23. We haven't got a forecast yet for the night, but we imagine it'll be pretty frosty. Will this be the first time you've done it?
No. I've been doing it for a few years now. In fact, I was doing it before I was in Parliament. So when I was leader of the Shop Assistants Union. So this is something like, look, it's a good night. Actually, I'm lying. It's bloody awful. last year, it absolutely teamed down. We were at lot 14, and I was sleeping on the grass, and everything was going okay. The rain coming down isn't the problem. It's when the rain starts coming up from underneath you that it's game over. But it's a good cause, and everyone gets around each other, and it's something I've been wanting to help out with in previous years, and I was hardly going to say no just because I've had a change of job in the last few months. So,
is there a venue yet? Is there a venue? Do you know where you're going to be doing it?
I think this year's at the museum. So they move around each year. The coldest night I've had was at Adelaide Oval, and I took the whole shadow cabinet with me. This is 4 years ago. I took the whole shadow cabinet with me, and I thought, if my leadership can survive this, then it's going to survive anything. So, but no, this year at the museum, so it should be good fun.
Yeah, well, it's a terrific cause. The target is $1 million. That's out of a national target of 8.7 million, and if that target is reached, that'll be the biggest amount SA's ever donated. Do you hit up your colleagues and say that they won't get pre-selected if they don't sponsor you and stuff like that?
Well, I've got a bit of a different position now, so I do hope to raise a few more quid, whatever it takes. But no, last year, in fact, South Australia has traditionally always punched above its weight in terms of this national fundraiser. So, every city around the country does this. I tend not to feel too sorry for those in the Darwin that are doing it out in the dry. I'm not too sure what they've got to complain about. But we've, on a per capita basis, my understanding is South Australia has been one of the best fundraising states to do this. In fact, if not the best. So hopefully we can maintain that mantle, and if I can make a contribution, that's a good thing.
Good stuff. Thanks for joining us, Premier. And if people, there's still time to register, and obviously plenty of time to donate. The website to get behind the Vinnie CEO Sleepout is ceosleepout.org.au.
Last night on the 5AA Sports Show, Mark Bickley joined Stephen Rowe. They were talking about Taylor Walker. Book your service online at North Point Toyota to win the cost back. It is the North Point way.
The other player we cannot not talk about is Taylor Walker. I sat next to a dyed-in-the-wool Western Bulldogs supporter at the game, and he'd been around for a long time, and Taylor Walker led out to the mark and did a few nice things, and he said, this guy here is a class above every other player on the ground, and it is true. Right now, I watch Norton pretty closely, and he does some really nice things, but he just doesn't look as clean and as classy as what Taylor Walker does. And when you think about it, they're really, at the moment, nobody looks as clean and as classy as Taylor Walker. Taylor's played 3 games, he's averaged 4 goals. The leader of the Coleman's averaging about 3.6. So he is the best forward in the game right now. So that is why Adelaide are where they are.
He's looked a class above Taylor Walker since his return. There's no doubt about it. He's brought the forward line together. There seems to be some real system when he's there. The question is, how does his body hold up over a 22-round season? Because we've seen him play really well in bursts returning from injury previously, in starting years. Can it hold up? If it does, the Crows are going to outperform expectation.
He fell in a hole last year, didn't he? after a
he
flying
did.
start.
That's right. So at his age, the question is, can he withstand the bump and grind?
But he doesn't. He's looking like he's cherry ripe at the moment. Unbelievable.
Certainly is. More on the Sports Show tonight. Book your service online at North Point Total to win the cost back. It is the North Point way.
For over 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth a trip. And right now, Steinborners are the place to go for top dollar on your trade-in. They will do any trade, and this month they're offering a further $1,500 bonus on all trade-ins. So go out to one of Steinborner's 8 locations for Hyundai, Mitsubishi, Ford and SA's best range of used cars. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
Booze Brothers.
At Booze Brothers, you'll always find something for Mum. Make her day sparkle with bubbles, boutique wines, small batch handmade SA gin, or a splash of pink rosé. Find it all and more in-store or online at Booze Brothers, the Umley, Avenues Tavern, Mile End Hotel, the Duck Inn and online. Booze Brothers, making mums happy for almost 40 years.
Booze Brothers.
Beat the others cold.
Now, this is going to be massive. Celebrate the 50th anniversary of Greyhound racing at Angle Park this coming Friday, April 29. You can relive the incredible 50-year history of Adelaide's home of Greyhound racing. It's always a great night out at Angle Park, and this is going to be a corker. There's going to be food trucks, bars, kids' activities, live music, and, of course, great racing, including the big one, the coveted $73,000 Anniversary Cup. It's fun for the whole family and it's free entry, so don't miss it. And look, this is good because if you've got young kids like I do and they love getting along to see the dishies, Thursday can be a bit of a stretch sometimes when they're really little. No excuses. This is Friday night. Don't miss it. The 50th anniversary of Greyhound racing at Angle Park, Friday, April 29. Gates open nice and early at 5:30 p.m. Check out the website grsa.com.au for more information. Stay in control, leave before you lose it, gamble responsibly.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. There's been a police chase through the western suburbs involving a stolen Mitsubishi Lancer. 2 teenagers allegedly stole the car at Knife Point at North Haven last night. Senior Constable Matt Brown says they tracked it from Nova Gardens to Edwardstown.
The car continued driving as it lost 2 tyres, and Star Group officers took over the pursuit and followed the car on South Road for a short time before the car was stopped near the intersection of Adams Street at Torrensville.
A 15 and 17-year-old were arrested. They've been charged and will front court today. The £10 POM has been given a 2022 twist. The South Australian Tourism Commission will offer 200 return trips to Adelaide for just £10 each. That's around $18 for young people from the UK and Ireland. It's part of a campaign to attract working holiday makers. Among the conditions, people must be a British or Irish citizen, have a working holiday visa and be able to travel to Adelaide before September 30 this year. Some much-needed financial relief is on the way today for millions of Australians. Christina Hearn reports.
Around 6 million low-income earners will receive a one-off cost of living payment of $250, which will hit bank accounts today. Those eligible include pensioners, veterans, welfare recipients and concession card holders. It's all part of a multi-billion-dollar package announced in last month's federal budget. It comes as the latest inflation data is set to be revealed. The Australian Bureau of Statistics to release the Consumer Price Index for the 3 months to March, expected to be at a 15-year high. Interest rates could rise as a result, with the Reserve Bank to meet next week.
The United Nations says Vladimir Putin has agreed in principle to the UN and Red Cross being involved in the evacuation of civilians from a steel plant in the besieged Ukrainian port city of Mariupol. The comments follow a meeting between the President and UN Secretary-General in Moscow. Mr Putin insists people are already allowed to leave the area.
You are saying that the humanitarian corridors of Russia do not work. Mr Secretary-General, you have been misled. These corridors are active. More than 100,000 people left Mariupol with our assistance. 130,000 in my opinion, or 140,000 people came out.
Donald Trump has given his strongest indication yet he'll run for President of the United States again in 2024. Polling suggests Mr Trump would beat current leader Joe Biden by 6 points and Vice President Kamala Harris by 11 points. He's hinted to Sky's Piers Morgan a leadership change could be on the cards.
For reasons of campaign finance and everything, I'm not allowed to say, but let me just say this. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy.
So you won't get a vote?
I love our country. Our country is going to hell. I think a lot of people are going to be very happy.
So you're going to run?
I'm not going to say that, but I think people are going to be happy.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
What's happening at Alberton, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, Port Adelaide midfielder Kane Farrell says he has confidence his knee is fully fit and can withstand the rigours of AFL football. The 23-year-old played his first game in the AFL since rupturing his ACL in July last year. And he told Rowie and Timmy G after a couple of games in the Sandful, it's feeling great.
I've felt in the last couple of weeks the confidence has been no worries with my leg, so it's just now getting that match fitness up to where I want it to be.
Meantime, Crows forward Riley Thilthorpe has been cleared of any major damage to his knee and is a chance to play this weekend. To soccer, Manchester City has beaten Real Madrid 4-3 in this morning's first leg of their semi-final clash in the Champions League. City did lead 4-2 before Karim Benzema converted a penalty late in the game to get a goal back.
Taking on the responsibility, Karim Benzema just lifts it over Edison. How about that? Emphasising the Champions League confidence of Real Madrid's great goal scorer, arguably the greatest forward in the world at the moment.
Audio there thanks to Stan, the return leg to be played next week. Well, Novak Djokovic will be allowed to compete at Wimbledon, with tournament organisers confirming players won't need to be vaccinated against COVID-19. Wimbledon Chief Executive Sally Bolton says they take their lead from the current government directions.
The requirements set out by government to enter the UK do not include mandatory vaccination, and therefore, whilst of course it is encouraged, it will not be a condition of entry to compete at the Championships this year.
And that is the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete home filtration at Telstra Business Awards and Deloitte Fast 50 winners. CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au.
At Edward Sound, look out for a smash on South Road, just past Dunolland Road as you're heading into the city. Quite heavy delays at the moment. Avoid if you can. Bellevue Heights got Stobie Pole works on Shepherd's Hill Road near Ellison Avenue. One lane out of action and speeds reduced. That's as you're heading down the hill towards Sturt. And at Lobethal this morning, carving truck at Woodside Road and Ridge Road. Take care with all on the road. Detours in place. Got a camera this morning too, Vinevale Road at and under. After a new or demo Kia, head to SA's #1 Kia dealership, Wayne Phillips Kia, awarded SA's Dealership of the Year for the 7th year in a row. Wayne Phillips Kia, Ranella. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation home lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
A partly cloudy Wednesday, 23, partly cloudy tomorrow, 27, then Friday showers down to 22. Right now it's 18 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
Do you know how protective your face mask really is? Is it PPE Tech protected? PPE Tech manufactures tight-fitting P2 certified face masks. That means they're proven to filter more than 98% of particles. And better yet, they're made right here in Australia. Right now, get free delivery and save up to 40% off disposable P2 face masks. Don't settle for anything less than Australian-made PPE Tech P2 face masks. Order online at ppetech.com.au today. ppetech.com.au.
7 News is Adelaide's news. Adelaide's #1 weather.
Looking at cooler temperatures by the end of the week, though.
And first for Adelaide sports news.
First 2 breaking news.
Adelaide's leading local news. 7 News at 6.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 8. Mixed response to the Premier's take on masks in schools. We'll get to some of your text shortly on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line. You can contribute to the conversation at any time, though, on 0448 08 1395. You can also jump on the 5AA Facebook or YouTube live stream, where we're proudly partnering with Cancer Council SA, and leave your thoughts there, and we'll read them out over the course of the morning.
We also got a couple of texts about the question of ramping. That was something that we devoted yesterday's breaking at 8 to. We do intend to do more on that. We just didn't have time to get to it this morning with the Premier, because quite deliberately we wanted to shine a light on the excellent work of St Vinny's with the CEO sleepout. There'll be plenty more chats with the Premier coming up, and it's an issue that's not going to go away. In fact, I was looking at SASMOA's Twitter feed. They're the Salaried Medical Officers Association, and I mean, I know the new government's only been in for, 5-6 weeks, but yeah, the Medico's take on how the hospital system's faring doesn't look that different today to what it was when Stephen Marshall was still the Premier.
Yep. All right, let's go around the courts thanks to Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities. crimestopperssa.com.au. Sean Fewster, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Now, the official reason I'm not there is because I've done myself a small mischief and walking is a bit of a pain right now. But really, after yesterday, I just thought that it was okay to pull the blanket over my head, roll back over and decide that I didn't want to come and do things.
Well, that seems to be the done thing. If you don't have to do it for when you're on trial, you shouldn't have to do it for a radio segment, surely.
Well, exactly. So, here I am talking to you under the doona because, I thought I'd do at least that much, even if I wouldn't come show my face.
It's a very powerful headline, an excellent headline on the front page of today's paper, Sean. A killer sleep-in, alleged murderer misses court to stay under the doona. A teen charged with the stabbing murder of a man during a fight between warring gangs of African heritage refused to come to court, instead pulling a quilt over his head and rolling over in bed in his cell yesterday. Just an extraordinary level of disdain and contempt for the legal system.
I felt so sorry for the two remand centre workers dressed in full PPE and face shields on the video screen, left to stare at a magistrate saying, "I'm so sorry, Your Honour, we can't get him to leave his cell." Now, fortunately, the youth court magistrate understood exactly what was going on and didn't take it out on those two workers, and the young man's appointed counsel decided the best thing they could do was just kick on with the hearing in his absence. But as you say, it's an incredibly bad look to think that someone who is charged so young with the most serious crime that our criminal calendar recognises would cop that kind of attitude to his very first court appearance.
The coverage is excellent this morning. You're there with four other journos across pages 4 and 5 covering the court side of things, and then the peerless police reporter Nigel Hunt has got a special report across 2 pages about the nature and the workings of these many gangs. It feels, Sean, like what we're seeing here is some of the mayhem that has beset a small but disturbing percentage of the Sudanese community and other African communities in Melbourne has spilled its way onto the streets here in Adelaide.
That's right. It's in no way, shape or form reflective of the overall African communities, plural, but at the same time it does have that. You guys may also remember the tragic death of Daniel Awak 14 years ago, the young 14-year-old who was murdered in the middle of Grenfell Street in a gang fight. You remember the young man that killed him went next door to one of the cheap shops and said, "I need to buy a bigger knife because I'm going to stab him," and then did that. That young man served 4.5 years behind bars for murder, just 4.5 years. So it's now been 14 years since Daniel died, and we're back here again.
See, I think it's important that when we talk about these things, that we do put the caveat on it, that we are talking about a minority within that community. Having said that, though, you don't get your own special police operation unless there's a pretty major problem within the community, do you?
No, exactly. And the problem is these two gangs, it is comparable to saying, you look at an outlaw gang, you look at a crime gang within any community, and if the problem is those who are offending, that's where the task force needs to be directed. And in this case, you've got two. You've got 051 and KBS, and these gangs apparently have tendrils that stretch into Melbourne, into Sydney, and very much are bringing their problems here. Chief Detective Superintendent Des Bray said yesterday in the press conference that a lot of these young men, it will be alleged, came specifically from Melbourne and Sydney, flew in to this night of violence. So it's literally that exportation of violence into Adelaide.
Sean, when we last caught up, the story you were covering then, and still are, in fact, I know you've written about it again in the paper today, is the story of the university professor and the sexual assault allegations against him. Where's that trial at the moment?
So that's now taking a break for a couple of months. Unfortunately, it was set down for 5 days, and it took more than the 5 days. Dr. Jiang Su Nguyen from the University of Adelaide was under cross-examination for 5 days. Guys, I've not seen anything like it. We don't normally get to sit through any form of cross-examination or interrogation of alleged victims of sexual crimes in the criminal courts. Those are closed court hearings. In the South Australian Civil and Administrative Tribunal, this was an open hearing. So to see a woman have to go through and explain chapter and verse what she says happened to her and be challenged on it at every point was quite confronting. It was very emotional at times. It's been a very long 5 days for Dr. Nguyen, who is, of course, asserting that she was sexually harassed by virtue of sexual assault by Professor Joshua Ross, who denies all wrongdoing. And we have to make sure that we say that at this point as well. He's not going to get his chance to tell his side of the story until late May, early June.
It's an extraordinarily long inquest, isn't it?
Very much so. I mean, I don't think anybody expected the cross-examination to go this long. There was that much that Professor Ross's counsel wanted to dig into, and I'm talking literally the minutiae. You guys know I don't like to compare things to television, but if you think of something like Notes on a Scandal, you think of those American crime dramas where you see an alleged victim in the box for day after day after day. What were you wearing? How were you walking? How did you speak to him? All those sorts of things. It was seeing that play out right in front of my eyes in SACAT.
Remarkable. More to come on that one, obviously. Sean Fewster, the chief court reporter for The Advertiser. We talk to Sean every Wednesday, and we love doing it because he's the best in the business. Good on you, mate.
15 minutes to 8. Time to check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Ranella on the Southern Expressway, there's a car and motorcycle stuck in the far right-hand lane causing slow traffic and delays. It's near Sheriff's Road inbound. Edwardstown, smash on South Road just past Dunorlan Road as you're heading into the city, seeing heavy delays there this morning. And Lobethal, Carvey, Trucker, Woodside Road and Ridge Road. Take care with Earl on the road. Got some detours in place too. Look out for a camera Angaston Road at Mariupol. At Optus, get 500 gigs of data for a special price of $65 per month. Ends May 5. Price reverts to $115 after 12 months. T's and C's apply. Visit Optus in-store today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hi, Katie Bridges here, Market Lead at 5AA. Last year I participated in the Vinnie's CEO Sleepout. It was an extremely wet one and I was certainly grateful that I could choose to do it for one night only. But it was absolutely worth it to raise funds and support the incredible work that Vinnie's do. I've signed up again this year because I care about our community, so I'm urging other business and community leaders that care to do the same. Register now at ceosleepout.org.au.
The time has arrived. Adelaide's most anticipated precinct is now under construction. 88 O'Connell. Culture, sport, entertainment and fine dining all on the doorstep of this ultimate urban resort. 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are selling fast, offering timeless design and unparalleled views of the ocean, city and hills. 88 O'Connell is more than a lifestyle. It's a life styled just for you. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
6 music legends and 6 decades of hits are coming together to rock the house.
What about this for a list of names? This May, Australian music legends John Paul Young, Ross Wilson, Russell Morris, Glenn Shorrock, Brian Cadd and Ella Hooper, they're performing all their hit songs backed by an awesome lineup of Australia's finest musicians.
Audiences can expect to hear all their favourites delivered by some of our dearest and most loved music icons.
Between them, they will cover 6 decades of Australian music history with over 80 top 40 hits combined. We're talking Australian classics such as Eagle Rock, The Real Thing, We're, A Little Ray of Sunshine, Reminiscing and Lovers in the Air.
Rock the House is a music fan's dream gig, hit after hit after hit. Don't miss it. Rock the House at Her Majesty's Theatre, Monday 9th of May at 8 p.m. Get your tickets now through Ticketek.
Hello, Ian Henschke from National Seniors Australia. Australia desperately needs more than 400,000 extra workers, and we've got pensioners who want to help, want to work and work more. But we've got a confusing system that gives you a bonus for one day's work and penalises you more than 50 cents in the dollar after that. Make it simple, make it fair. Get rid of the pensioner work tax now. It's a win for pensioners, for business and for Australia. Sign our petition at nationalseniors.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift, get a
When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service, and hire, get a Toyota Forklift.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
To 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment. Expect a top of 23 in Adelaide today. It'll be partly cloudy, light winds, pretty calm sort of a day. Then it becomes a really interesting 48 hours because it warms up to 27 tomorrow. It'll be fairly pleasant. And then Friday, a real change. Top of just 22, but the headliner is 3 to 10 mils of rain. So up to 10 mils of rain Friday. Some of that will carry over to Saturday morning. We'll have a top of just 19. Been a while since we haven't had too many consecutive days of a top that doesn't have a 2 in front of it for a while. It'll be a top of 19 Saturday and a top of 19 on Sunday. Monday 21, Tuesday 22 next week.
Could get a bit of wet weather football on Saturday. Crows v the Giants. Crows are favourites by a large margin in the betting.
Hasn't been the case for a while. It'll be a scrappy. Well, it might be a little bit scrappy. Lucky it's not on the Friday. Hopefully that rain will have cleared up by then.
Fingers crossed.
Because otherwise, yeah, that'll be a really interesting afternoon of footy. The real weather headline, though, around the state, though, is up north. Woomera got 68.8 mils of rain through till 9 o'clock yesterday.
Wow.
Arkaroola, 50 mils. The Murray Airport, 45.2. They've got a flood watch for the northeast and northwest. Remember, it's not that long ago, probably only a month or so ago, that a lot of towns were cut off because of flooding. And this is the problem they get with repeat events. So the roads just melt away. Yeah. So there's a lot of communities that are concerned about being isolated again in the north of the state. So whilst it's calm here today, it hasn't been in other parts of South Australia over the course of the last couple of days. 9 to 8, and it's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
Yes, Steph.
Good morning, Premier. Would you like a cuppa?
Yes, thanks, Steph.
All right, and Tom Goodson-Tonus is here to see you.
Oh, tell him he needs an appointment.
I told him, but he wanted to surprise you. He's got a gift.
All right, send him in. Wait a little while, then buzz me again.
Will do. You can go in.
Come in.
Oh, new Premier Pete! Oh!
Hey, Tom, how's it going?
Pretty good. I bought you some red Easter eggs, a loaf of Sariki bread, some goat's milk feta, and a bottle of ouzo.
Oh, it was Greek.
Yeah, Orthodox Easter on the weekend. We dye chook eggs red, and then everyone gets one, and we smash them together till one person ends up with an unbroken egg, and they have good luck for the rest of the year. So here's one for you.
Okay.
And let's smash them together. Here we go.
Okay.
So now you're going to have good luck, and I have egg yolk all over my...
Okay, well, thanks for that, Tom. Good to see you.
Have you got a towel so I can wipe the...
here, it's a hanky.
There's a bit on your desk there, too. You better wipe that off because it goes hard. Very hard to deal with.
Don't worry about it, Tom.
I was thinking, new Premier Pete, when we were in opposition, I was in charge, you may remember, of government accountability.
Yep.
I would jump on them constantly for every stupid thing they did, and the good things they did, but I kept on them. It was almost a full-time job.
Yeah, you did some good work there, Tom.
Well, now that we're in government, because you're so fantastic, there doesn't seem to be as much for me to do.
Well, there will be, Tom.
And I was thinking, what happens if David Spears puts Stephen Marshall in charge of government accountability? He'll be jumping on everything I do as Transport and Infrastructure Minister.
Well, swings and roundabouts, Tom.
But I don't want to be judged by him.
Oh, okay, well, Steve Mulligan can take over Transport if you like.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Premier, your 10 o'clock is here.
Okay, well, I'll leave you to it. You're a very busy Premier.
And Chris Picton can do infrastructure, Tom.
No, I can do it.
More from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. There's some breaking news out of the world of the AFL. The Adelaide Football Club has just issued a statement thanking three-time premiership player and the greatest female player in AFL history, Erin Phillips, for her contribution to the Crows and the game more broadly, following her decision to explore her options with an expansion club. That will be the Port Adelaide Football Club.
Of course it will. Good luck to her, and I think Crows fans should thank her from the bottom of their hearts for everything she did. She was absolutely pivotal in not just the development of the team, but the pace with which it became such a dynastic success. 3 premierships from 4 grand final appearances.
Yep.
And look, I got to say, as a Crows fan, like I'll be much more worried about losing a Marinoff, a Randall, or a Hatchard based on where they are
completely
in their careers. But football is about more than whether you win or lose. It's about your heritage and your culture. And undeniably, Erin Phillips, daughter of Greg, she means so much to that family, means so much to the Port Adelaide Football Club. And I sort of think, I mean, you know, I want the Crows to smash them when the first female showdown is held. But at the same time, you want the Port women's team to be a success too. You want them to have something to build themselves around. And in terms of women's footy, Erin Phillips is in a league of her own.
Completely. Absolutely. Been an absolute superstar. And I think there's a nice culture with football broadly that if someone wins you a premiership, you kind of wish them all the best for the rest of their career.
Yeah, totally.
And I think most fans adhere to that.
Yeah.
You say, okay, you know, you wanted to go and play somewhere else, you want to leave, you want to do something for your own personal life, go for it. We can't ask any more. You've given us the ultimate. She's given more than the ultimate. It's three premierships.
She's at the point now where she's going to be, I think, probably going to be more of a coach than a player.
She's going to be 37 next month. And I think you're right.
Is she 37?
You should be 37 next month.
Staggering.
So
how good she's been for so long.
Exactly right. She's just absolute superstar. Great person to launch a new franchise. But yeah, if you talk about this just as a footy story in terms of on-field impact, I actually thought one of the nice things about that final series was it felt like a handing over of the bat.
Yeah, it did.
It felt like Erin Phillips handed the baton to Anne Hatchard as the best women's player in the league.
Yeah.
And then you've got, you're right, in order of priorities, you've got an Ebony Marinoff, you've got a Chelsea Randall. So I think as far as it affects the Crows on field,
Sarah Allen, like there's so many names that you really want to keep.
That side is just, it is superb. So the Crows will absorb the loss.
Matthew Clark gave one of the best sports speeches I've ever heard at the AFLW Best and Fairest the other week, where he talked about, he compared the team to, bear with me, or bear with Doc Clark, a mail-order bicycle versus a frog. He was talking about, what was the term he used? Contained systems. He said it's quite possible now to order all the different parts you need for a bicycle from all around the country, and you can put the bicycle together in Adelaide or Melbourne or Sydney and it's still a bicycle. But he said, this team though, this team's a frog. And he said frogs can jump, frogs can breathe through their skin, frogs have got 3 hearts. He said, you can't take a single part of this team together and have it still the same team. Now, it looks like, on the face of it, the one big name that the women are going to lose is Erin, which I actually think the club is probably, they see that as manageable and expected.
Yep.
And have probably behind the scenes been going, well, if you want to go, Erin, you can.
Yeah.
Because the next generation of players, not saying that Erin wouldn't have still been a huge asset with all the off-field stuff that she'd bring, but the next generation of players probably doesn't include her.
At various points in her career, it's felt like Erin Phillips will bust at times. It doesn't anymore.
No.
She was the sprinkles on top.
Well, part of the thing too for Port, and like this is where the women's team for Adelaide has got a massive corporate partnership with BHP. Like, so much of the build of the club is actually for Port now. It's going to involve not just players, it's going to involve marketing and networking and the creation of a sponsorship program. And Erin, as someone who's got such standing in that space, will be a huge asset for them as a draw card.
Absolutely.
To bring the corporate world over.
It's a great point. It's an excellent point. And while we've been talking, Port Adelaide have made it official. They say in a statement they're thrilled to announce three-time All-Australian Aaron Phillips has committed to sign with the club as its first AFLW player for its inaugural campaign.
Good luck to her.
2 minutes to 8.
Welcome to our 6-hour finance presentation.
Dave, this is your inner Dave. Let's blow this meeting off for some serious fun in your Hyundai Kona.
Dave, where are you going?
Something serious has come up. I gotta go.
Escape in the seriously fun Hyundai Kona, the small SUV packed with clever tech and stunning looks. Now's a smart time to buy from just $29,490 drive away. T's and C's apply. Visit hyundai.com.au/offers for details. Imagine that, Hyundai.
Have you been itching to help out? Now you can. CMAX are trialling a potential skin treatment and need your help. If you are aged 18 to 55 and don't have atopic dermatitis, you may be eligible to participate. Not only will you help make a difference, but all eligible participants will get reimbursed for their time. Visit cmax.com.au and search for CM7721. That's cmax.com.au. CM7721.
Love doing these plugs for Chanellas. What a business. Fantastic. If you love your food, you've got to get in there. And look, they're big event guys. Every year, families all over Adelaide, they enjoy Mother's Day with Chanellas because Chanellas make it so easy to entertain the guests.
As everyone knows, Chanellas are the masters of platters. They're becoming a fixture in our family. Christmas Day, big events, family gets together, we get the Chanellas platters happening, hot or cold, grazing boxes, arancini platters, schnitzel platters, cheese platters, fruit platters. This sounds like Mum's order. And so much more, including continental cakes, cannoli, tiramisu, Zeppelis, and the list goes on.
With Chanellas, there's no running around, and that's the best part. Don't get stressed entertaining. Just think, I'll just go to Chanellas and just shell out a little bit, and it'll probably cost about the same as it would have if I'd done it myself, and look even better and taste much better. They'll do it all for you, including stunning flower arrangements in-store from fresh petals.
And everything is lovingly made in-house from scratch by Chanellas chefs and patisserie chefs. So get your Mother's Day orders in now at chanellasmarket.com.au or call into 62 Prospect Road, Prospect, to pick up everything you need. Chanellas, best and fresh. It's a way of life this Mother's Day.
Find everything you need to know for this federal election in The Advertiser. Get digital access for just $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Conditions apply. Subscribe before you decide. Search The Advertiser offer now.
3 words your friends and family never like hearing.
We're moving house.
Well, you can always rely on budget truck and car rentals to help out. From 3-ton moving trucks you can drive on a car licence to vans and moving trailers. Budget car and truck rentals make it easy as to move house. Do it right in half the time and save money with budget car and truck rentals. Call 13 27 27.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher. 2 teenagers have been arrested after allegedly stealing a car at knife point in North Haven last night. Kendall Brettig reports.
Just after 7 p.m, 2 teenagers approached a man in Osborne Street at North Haven and stole his Mitsubishi Lancer sedan. A few hours later, patrols spotted the car travelling north on Morford Road at Nova Gardens and followed it onto Marion Road. It was then tracked through Edwardstown and successfully spiked on Raglan Avenue. The car continued driving as it lost 2 tyres. It eventually came to a stop near the intersection of Adam Street at Torrensville, and the driver attempted to run away but was stopped a short distance away and arrested. The 17-year-old boy from Mile End's been charged with aggravated robbery, illegal use and dangerous driving to escape a police pursuit. His passenger, a 15-year-old boy from Ottawa, has been charged with aggravated robbery and illegal use.
A $250 cost of living payment will start hitting the bank accounts of more than 6 million Australians from today. Welfare recipients, veterans, pensioners and concession card holders are eligible for the one-off cash handout. The pre-election sweetener is part of an $8.5 billion package announced in the March budget. The South Australian Tourism Commission is bringing back the £10 POM in a bid to attract working holiday makers. 200 return trips to Adelaide for just £10 each, or around $18, are on offer for young people from the UK and Ireland. Tourism Minister Zoe Beddison says it's an attractive offer.
This is focused on people who are 18 to 35 years, and they must already have a working holiday visa, and they must travel before the 30th of September this year.
The number of high school students studying maths has slumped to a new low. New data from the Australian Mathematical Sciences Institute shows fewer than 10% of Year 12 students in 2020 chose to study the highest level of mathematics. Maths whiz broadcaster Adam Spencer has weighed in.
About 40% of kids in Year 7 to 10 get at least 1 year's tutoring, teaching, from a teacher who's not qualified to teach mathematics. If you spend a year in mathematics really not understanding what's going on, it's such an incremental building block subject. If you fall behind, it's remarkably tough to get back on top.
Former US President Donald Trump has criticised his successor Joe Biden for his management of international relations, including how he's handled the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Mr Trump has told Sky's Piers Morgan the country's in trouble and something needs to happen.
And if it doesn't happen, and if we don't have smart leadership, you're going to end up with no world. The world is going to be blown to pieces. We have stupid people now running our country. The world is going to be blown to pieces.
Government House will go to the dogs today. It will celebrate International Guide Dog Day by hosting a Labrador field garden party. The party will recognise 89 dogs that are in various stages of their career to support people living with low vision, blindness and other specialised needs. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Breaking news, and three-time premiership star Erin Phillips has officially joined Port Adelaide for next season. The 36-year-old is the club's first player signing and joins the Power after winning 3 premierships with the Crows and winning 2 League Best and Fairest awards. Phillips' father, Greg, is one of Port Adelaide's greatest ever players, having won a staggering 8 premierships during his time with the club. Still on footy, and Crows midfielder Braden Cook says he's loving the opportunity he's been given at the top level. The 19-year-old has played the past 5 games, and he told Rowie it's been nice to get a sustained run at it.
Still getting used to it. I mean, it's definitely a big jump up from the sample, but yeah, starting to not get comfortable, but kind of get a bit of a grasp on the level I need to be at.
And Network 10 are reportedly preparing a bid to secure the AFL TV rights. Streaming services such as Amazon are also in the mix, with AFL bosses travelling to the United States to meet with company executives. To basketball, and the NBL will hold its MVP awards tonight. Meantime, in the NBA, the highly fancy Brooklyn Nets are out of the playoffs after being swept 4-0 by Boston. Manchester City has beaten Real Madrid 4-3 in a cracking semi-final clash in the European Champions League this morning. The return leg will be played in Spain next week. And in some cricket news, the Rajasthan Royals have enjoyed a 29-run win against the Royal Challengers Bangalore in the IPL. Josh Hazlewood took 2 wickets for Bangalore as they restricted the Royals to only 8 for 144. But that proved more than enough. Virat Kohli's lean run continuing as he made only 9, while Glenn Maxwell was dismissed for a golden duck. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete home filtration at Telstra Business Awards and Deloitte Fast 50 winners. CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au.
At Ranella on the Southern Expressway, there's a car and motorcycle stuck in the far right-hand lane. It's causing slow traffic and delays. It's near Sheriff's Road inbound. Edwardstown, residual delays from an earlier smash on South Road just past Dunallen Road as you're heading into the city. And Lobethal Carvey Truck at Woodside Road and Ridge Road. Take care with oil on the road and detours in place there. Good Life Health Clubs, good for doing it your way, good for life. Get up to 4 weeks free and enjoy more flexible routine. Get started with a free 5-day trial. Go to goodlife.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
We're heading for a top of 23 today and partly cloudy tomorrow 27, and then showers Friday 22. Right now it's 18 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Help Create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. We'll speak with a member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey, as well. Is there independent fever sweeping across South Australia? We'll have a chat with her about her intentions post-federal election as well, in the event that there is minority government. That's coming up very, very shortly. Then after 8:30 today, revisit a chat that we had a lot of fun with earlier, the return of the £10 POM, or at very least the 2022 version of it. The SATC sponsoring a model attracting Brits to Australia on a very discounted ticket. This is not permanent residency. This is more to get people coming to SA and coming to visit us and frequenting bars and restaurants and doing things like that, returning city vibrancy. Seems like a great idea. And we heard some lovely stories earlier from expat Brits who were the original £10 POMs that came to Australia. If you've got a story for us, we'd love to hear it. 8223 0000, or you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line at any time, any subject, 0448 08 1395.
Well, you may have now seen the remarkable and disturbing footage that emerged overnight of what happened when a bunch of prisoners in the maximum security wing at the Yatala Labour Prison went totally berserk on Saturday, smashing the joint up. They were punching holes in walls. They were pulling sinks out of the walls. Chairs were thrown. It was complete mayhem. And the trigger for this, so we're told, is that on account of staff shortages due to COVID, close contact rules and what have you, all the same things that are affecting every other workplace in South Australia, the prisoners had been placed into lockdown. To get more details about what actually occurred and what's behind it all, we talk now to Natasha Brown, who is the General Secretary of the Public Service Association. Natasha, good morning, and thanks so much for joining us. So, good morning. What's your understanding of what actually happened? What time did it all sort of kick off and how long did it go for?
Look, for obvious reasons, I can't comment on the operational aspects of the incident. However, I will say that this is clearly caused by systemic understaffing of our prison system. The reason why these prisoners were in lockdown was because the jail was too short-staffed to be able to operate and open up normally. Now, that is obviously to some degree, COVID is having an impact there, but to a much larger degree, this is a result of the previous state government's benchmarking policy, which was effectively a way of cutting costs across the prison system by making them run on minimal staffing. So there's really no capacity for sick leave, for any other type of absences before the jails get to a point where they're so critically understaffed that the prisoners need to be placed into lockdown.
So you're saying that because of the sort of benchmarking, which I guess is like finding an acceptable, what is regarded by the bean counters as an acceptable standard or number of staff, that when something like close contact rules gets thrown into the mix, there's no wiggle room for changing rosters?
That's exactly correct. So we're seeing this happen more and more frequently. And the concerning thing for us is that while thankfully there was no one injured in the incident at the weekend, obviously jails are dangerous places at the best of time. And we know that short-staffed prisons are extremely dangerous environments, both for our members who are working in the jails, but also for the prisoners. So with these kinds of lockdowns and this understaffing running so frequently and so regularly, it would only be a matter of time before something much more serious happens. That's a major concern for us, and that's why we're calling on the new government to review this benchmarking that has taken place under the previous government and to make sure that our jails are staffed safely.
In practice, what does lockdown mean for inmates?
Lockdown means for inmates that they are confined to their cells. So rather than being able to, get out, get exercise, they're confined to their cells for an extended period of time. So obviously that creates agitation because people don't like to be locked up, nor do our members like to have people locked up. It's not the way the jail is meant to operate.
So what's an extended period? How long would that last for?
Well, I was informed that the jail was running on lockdown on Friday, so it had obviously been at least since Friday, and this incident took place on Saturday.
Wow.
Okay.
So it looks like it was at least sort of a 24-hour period.
Yes, yeah.
Geez. Can you give us any sense, I know you probably don't want to divulge too much about the inner workings of jails, Natasha, but do you have a sense of like what percentage of staff have been off?
Yeah, look, it's obviously an amount of staff, which means the jails can't operate safely and can't operate normally. So that's extremely concerning to us.
We'll do more on this story as it unfolds. Natasha Brown, the General Secretary of the PSA, thanks very much for joining us this morning for Breaking It 8.
Thank you.
Imagine that.
A lot of people are texting us, and it's worth reading these texts out on this issue, I think. Scott says, boys, boo-hoo, prisoners were inconvenienced, bad luck. I wouldn't fix anything they broke. You made your bed, you sleep in it. Jane says, oxymoron, prisoners upset about being in lockdown, not much sympathy. I reckon the point that the PSA would be keen to make is, I don't think anyone cares about how happy the prisoners are, but if they are all collectively unhappy to the point where they can't be controlled, then security guards are in danger. And that's why this is a problem.
This isn't Manila.
Yeah.
Like, as reprehensible as a lot of the residents of that part of Adelaide are, there are certain sort of, internationally accepted standards that developed countries have to adhere to. And your point is exactly right. Like, I get the sort of suck-it-up princesses tone of some of the texts. However, the people we should be the most worried about, like our mate Sashi from MasterChef.
Yes.
It's the guards who are there trying to maintain order. And if some, hitman or serial killer has got the hump because he hasn't been allowed out of his cell for 10 days or something, it's the pressure that it puts on the staff who are just there earning probably not that much.
That's right. And you're dealing with people that a lot of whom have got nothing to lose.
Well, I mean, if you know you're never going to get out of jail.
Yeah. What do you care?
Exactly.
Some of the other stories that are developing over the course of the morning, there are 6 million eligible Australians that will start getting a $250 cost of living payment this week. Here is the Treasurer federally, Josh Frydenberg, speaking with Koshi on Sunrise a short time ago.
Pensioners, veterans, carers and other Australians on income support, 6 million Australians will receive $250 by the end of this week. That equates to $1.5 billion of government support, and it builds on the other cost of living announcements that we made.
Interesting to see if it delivers any sort of sugar hit in an electoral sense 25 days out from the election. Sir Richard Branson's Virgin Cruise Liners are headed for Melbourne. The Resilient Lady will offer a series of kids-free cruises for 2023 and 2024. It will berth at Station Pier in Port Melbourne. Most cruise ships, as it is at the moment, operate out of Sydney, so it's seen as a major news story in Victoria. Here's the CEO, Nirmal Savamutu.
Station Pier as this is a perfect facility for us. Our ships are designed on purpose not to be the biggest ships in the world. We're mid-sized ships. It allows us to get into different ports and different destinations. And so we're just excited to be down in Melbourne and showcase what Melbourne has to offer.
Fuel Watch, thanks to the free MyRA app, which you can download in an instant. You get it from the App Store today and find the cheapest fuel wherever it might well be. Some of the cheap spots we've found today, they're not as cheap as they were. It's back up in the $80s, which is concerning. The OTR South Road Darlington, $79.9. The OTR Prospect Road Prospect, $71.9. The Mogas McGill Road McGill, $82.9 are your cheapest. The cheapest diesel we could find, the ex-convenience May North Road Jeps Cross, $78.9. I guess the concern is you add on the excise that's still off temporarily, and we're back at fuel around $2 a litre, which is getting up to that point that's not really sustainable. Inflation figures out later today as well. Petrol's a big and fuel's a big part of that, and we'll learn more about where the economy's heading as well. 17 minutes after 8, the member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey, in just a moment. But first, let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. At Port Adelaide, crash on Old Port Road near Frederick Road. Edwardstown, residual delays from an earlier smash on South Road, just past Unorland Road as you're heading into the city. And Loberthal, Carthy Truck at Woodside Road and Ridge Road. Take care with Oola on the road. Detours are in place there. Busy at the moment, Marion Road, South Terrace to Cross Road. And we've got cameras, Gomersil Road, Gomersil, and Stockwell Road at Lights Pass. At Officeworks, say thanks for everything and show Mum you know her with a personalised photo gift she'll love. Shop in store or online at officeworks.com.au/gifts for mum. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Roey's Sport Show.
Are the Crows that good?
Well, this is a good question.
Good?
No, I don't think they are.
They beat Bulldogs in Ballarat.
I don't think the Bulldogs...
I played Can You Feel It to the Brinky thing. They are stuff.
I think it's a bit of both.
Okay.
The Crows are definitely improved, but the Bulldogs are off the pace.
4 p.m. weekdays.
But the Crows were great in the midfield. Ben Keesey...
Oh, my God. I read out his stats to Bix. You read them out. That's a Brownlow medalist.
He's been remarkable since he's been in Adelaide.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
The time has arrived. Adelaide's most anticipated precinct is now under construction. 88 O'Connell. Culture, sport, entertainment and fine dining all on the doorstep of this ultimate urban resort. 1, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments are selling fast, offering timeless design and unparalleled views of the ocean, city and hills. 88 O'Connell is more than a lifestyle, it's a life styled just for you. Delivered by Commercial and General, proudly creating South Australian communities for 25 years.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Comfort is more than a word. It can be hard to explain, but if comfort was something you could wrap around you, something you could sink into, well, it would definitely be Mini Jumbuck.
Great local business, Mini Jumbuck, now located in McLaren Vale. So, I mean, any excuse to get down to McLaren Vale, maybe do a bit of wine tasting, check out the distilleries. But first, make an appointment. Well, you don't need to make an appointment. You can just rock up. Call in to Mini Jumbuck, makers of Australia's favourite wool bedding products from the finest Australian wool.
In fact, Mini Jumbuck have been using quality Aussie wool for over 40 years. Handcrafted quilts, mattress toppers, pillows and more. They also stock a huge range of oak boots and merino wool clothing. So if you're looking for comfort, the word you're looking for is Mini Jumbuck.
Classy stuff and it'll keep you very warm all through winter. Visit Mini Jumbuck, McLaren Vale today. Open 7 days. South Australian made and South Australian owned.
Hi, Katie Bridges here, Market Lead at 5AA. Last year I participated in the Vinnie's CEO Sleepout. It was an extremely wet one and I was certainly grateful that I could choose to do it for one night only. But it was absolutely worth it to raise funds and support the incredible work that Vinnie's do. I've signed up again this year because I care about our community, so I'm urging other business and community leaders that care to do the same. Register now at ceosleepout.org.au.
If you're going to test drive a new car, taking it around the block a few times isn't enough. Take a proper test drive at Jarvis Toyota Clovelly Park. The all-new Land Cruiser 300 boasts enhanced luxury and technology, making it a pleasure to drive both on and off-road. With a brand new 3.3 litre twin-turbo V6 diesel engine, it's the most powerful diesel Land Cruiser yet. Rediscover the road and take a proper test drive in the new Land Cruiser 300 at Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
We don't just say we're local, we are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8, talking £10 POMs in the 2022 version, attracting young backpackers to South Australia with the Tourism Minister Zoe Bettinson after 8:30. But it's federal politics that has our attention for the moment. 25 days out from federal election day, the member for Mayo, Rebecca Sharkey, joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Rebecca Sharkey, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good, thanks, Rebecca. So what's the mood on the ground like there up in the Adelaide Hills? There seems to be a consensus across the political divide that you are pretty firmly entrenched now as the local member?
Oh, I don't know about that. I think the feeling is, I think that we'd all really like the 25 days to be, on the other side of it and go back to lives and go back to Stobie polls without call sleeps. I think that's the feeling. I'm just my usual self out and about, street corner meetings and talking with constituents and phone calls, still trying to fix many issues for people with Centrelink and My Aged Care and all of that. And, they're really hard electives, particularly if you're a sitting member, because, it's pretty stressful. I mean, it's a public job review, really. Every day down is another day to do.
What do you make of when you see all the polls, and it doesn't matter which one you're looking at, be it, News Poll or Gallup or any of them, it's more than a third of Australians don't seem to want to vote for either the Labor Party or the Liberal National Party. Like this, I can't remember an election like this where the primary vote for both sides of politics is so low. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I think it's been declining for some time, and I think it's a bit of a pox on both the houses in that sense, because there's lots of things that the crossbench have been talking about in the Parliament, pushing for in the Parliament, that both the major parties have been a bit lukewarm on. It's taken a long time with me talking about aged care and home care to actually get some traction there. But even things like, security for our fuel. We had this rule that we had to hold 180 days worth of fuel. And, Bob Catter, for as long as I've been in the Parliament, has been standing up and talking about this as a real concern. Then we had the Ukraine issue. Everything spiked. And COVID, I think, has shown that a lot of the issues that those of us on the crossbench talk about around sovereignty and, manufacturing at home have really brought to the fore, I think.
Would you like to see more independence in South Australia, or does it sort of dilute your ability to get a good deal for the people of Mayo?
Oh, no. Look, we have 10 seats in South Australia in the lower house. There are 151 seats. There are more seats south of Sydney than there are in South Australia. So we need to make every one of those seats count. And I think I've demonstrated when you sit on the crossbench, you really do make your seat count. That's why I ran back in 2016, and we've been able to see an enormous amount of attention come into Mayo and funding that we, rightly deserve, that when you're a safe seat, you just don't count. So I like to see every seat as a marginal seat, particularly in South Australia, so that we have, a very clear position in the Parliament, because so many of the decisions are very East Coast centric, and the river in particular. We've got the end of the river in Mayo, it's the end of the river in South Australia, and that is an issue that, particularly during COVID, there's only so much in the media bandwidth, and so many of those issues that are really important to South Australia haven't had the need that they've had to be talked about. And we're seeing a real move with a lot of the nationals saying, we're back to just using the river to float our yachts in Goolwa. So we've got to fight for these things.
Is your vote up for grabs, Rebecca? I mean, there's a very high likelihood that we could have a hung parliament, and it's going to be a case of the schmooze fest will be on in earnest with Scott Morrison and Anthony Albanese trying to woo people like you. Could you go either way?
Well, I recognise that I have a seat that's never been a Labor seat, and I've worked hard to build good relationships with the government, and I think that my community would expect me to, if we were in that very unlikely scenario. I'm not sure it's going to happen. It's really hard for an independent to win a seat. I will naturally go to the government first, but I'll have a pretty long shopping list that starts with the federal ICAC and the river, and say, well, what are you actually going to do about these issues? And housing. Housing is something that my community, nearly, at least once a week, I'm receiving an email from somebody who is being evicted because the place is being sold, and they've got nowhere to live. And I have, in all of the years I've lived in the hills, I've never seen so many tents behind churches, families that have always had a roof over their head and now scrambling to find somewhere to live. And we need a national housing policy. Yeah.
Just quickly, though, just to clarify, though, it sounds like you are saying that your preference, given that the seat has historically been Liberal, provided Scott Morrison could satisfy those concerns you just outlined, but your preference would be to stick with the government.
Well, look, I think my community would expect that. As I said, we've never been a Labor seat, and I think I've demonstrated to my community that I've been a safe pair of hands to work constructively with the government. And also, if it's a very close election, is it the job of one person to change government? I would say no to that. But I've been bitterly disappointed that we haven't seen a federal ICAC. That was a promise in the last election. I mean, we don't even have a code of conduct for members of parliament. You have a code of conduct for FIVEaa, but we don't have one in the nation's
Well, I've been meaning to read up on that. Good question. I think it's in the drawer.
29 minutes after 8.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easy for property investors and the tenants of their properties. Everyone is treated with integrity and respect. That's the Lynn Andrews way. For commercial and residential property management, we are here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving you the chance to live mortgage-free in Henley Beach with a $4 million grand prize. Fully furnished and ready for you to move in. The 4-bedroom Scott Salisbury home has it all, including $1 million cash. Just imagine your housewarming party. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures and improved care for every South Australian. Licence M141166.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher. 2 teenagers have been arrested after they allegedly stole a car at Knife Point at North Haven and took it for a joyride. Senior Constable Matt Brown says a couple of hours later, the Mitsubishi Lancer was spotted on Morfett Road at Nova Gardens.
The car was followed as it turned east onto Anzac Highway and then south onto Morfett Road, then onto Oaklands Road and south on Marion Road. The stolen car was tracked through Edwardstown and successfully road spiked on Raglan Avenue.
The car continued on 2 tyres, eventually making it to Torrensville. The driver, a 17-year-old boy from Mile End, along with his 15-year-old passenger from Ottaway, has been charged and will front court today. The Prison Guards Union has warned of more unrest at Yatala after a riot on Saturday. Inmates ripped sinks and metal sheets off walls and threw rubbish. Natasha Brown from the PSA says it was sparked by a shortage of prison staff, forcing inmates to be locked in their cells.
This is clearly caused by systemic understaffing of our prison system. The reason why these prisoners were in lockdown was because the jail was too short-staffed to be able to operate and open up normally. Obviously, to some degree, COVID is having an impact there, but to a much larger degree, this is a result of the previous state government's benchmarking policy.
The latest inflation figures will be released this morning as a $250 cost of living payment starts to hit bank accounts. Michael Packey has more.
The Bureau of Statistics will release the Consumer Price Index for the 3 months to March. The data is expected to show prices at a 15-year high, mainly driven by the increasing cost of petrol, rent and groceries. ComSec market analyst Tom Petrosvi says the Reserve Bank will examine the numbers ahead of its board meeting next Tuesday.
We could see a rate rise from the RBA sooner than expected.
6 million low-income earners will be offered a one-off $250 payment from today to help vulnerable Australians deal with a higher cost of living.
A new national standard aiming to reduce the risk of long-term opioid use will encourage doctors to better monitor the use of pain medication. More than 2.5 million people undergo surgery each year, many of whom become reliant on the drugs. Anne Duggan from the Australian Commission on Safety and Quality in Healthcare says opioids can lead to addiction when not managed properly.
It's guiding clinicians and consumers about the steps that need to be taken to ensure patients get the right dose for the right length of time, and there's good communication between the hospital and the GP to make sure that patients get weaned off opioids.
Rideshare company Uber is facing a $26 million fine for misleading consumers about cancellation fees. The company has admitted the breach to Australia's consumer watchdog, which has reported the matter to the federal court. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Erin Phillips will be at Port Adelaide next season after it was announced she'll be leaving the Crows after spending 6 years there, where she won 3 premierships. The 36-year-old telling ARN the lure of playing at Port, where she has so much family history, was hard to resist.
The thought of missing the opportunity to play for a club that my dad played for, my brother-in-law played for, my older sister Rachel works at, and to be a part of something new, and it was just the deciding decisions for me.
Meantime, Sydney star Lance Franklin has dodged a penalty for umpire contact in Sydney's Anzac Day win over Hawthorn. The Hawks' Jaeger O'Meara has been fined $2,000 meantime for a forceful contact charge against Swan Callum Mills. Manchester City has beaten Real Madrid 4-3 in the first leg of their Champions League semi-final in England, but it may be the Spanish side that emerges more satisfied ahead of the second leg after City failed to convert several chances into a bigger lead. Former Socceroo and Stan Sport analyst Mark Bosnich says Real's players did exceptionally well to limit the deficit to just the one goal.
Completely outplayed for the vast majority of the game, as they were against Chelsea at home, as they were against PSG for the majority of the time, but their mentality is absolutely fabulous, and their individual players that they have are real quality.
And Rafael Nadal has confirmed his return from injury will be at the upcoming Madrid Open. The 5-time champion hasn't played since suffering a rib fracture at Indian Wells. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Complete Home Filtration at Telstra Business Awards and Deloitte Fast 50 winners. CompleteHomeFiltration.com.au.
At Keswick on Anzac Highway, look out for a broken down car in the right-hand turning lane onto Greenhill Road. Mawson Lake smash on Salisbury Highway and Eldersmith Drive with delays outbound, and Port Adelaide, another collision, that's on Old Port Road near Frederick Road. Bellevue Heights, Stobie Pole Works, Shepherd's Hill Road near Ellison Avenue, speeds at 40 and one lane closed, and we've got a camera today, Vineville Road at Tanunda. Fill up with Ampol Amplifier Premium Fuels, engineered specifically for tough Australian conditions. With regular use, they clean and protect your engine for better performance. Ampol, Australia's own. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
5 Mercedes bonus draws. Get your Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery tickets before midnight next Friday to win.
Partly cloudy, 23 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 27, then dropping back to just 22 with showers on Friday. Right now it's 19 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you're due for a service, here's a little reminder of what you get at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Sure, your car gets state-of-the-art servicing by top-trained mechanics, but what do you get? Try next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash. Oh, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we know that to be the best, we've got to look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Are you a qualified mechanic ready for a new opportunity? Cleanaway has roles available right now for mechanics as well as truck drivers. Join Australia's largest waste management company and help make a sustainable future possible together. Cleanaway provides essential waste and recycling services to the South Australian community. If you have a mechanic qualification or HR truck licence, apply today. Search Cleanaway Careers or visit cleanaway.com.au/careers.
Celebrate the 50th anniversary of Greyhound racing at Angle Park, Friday, April 29. Relive the history of Adelaide's home of Greyhound racing with food trucks and bars, kids' activities, live music and great racing, including the $73,000 Anniversary Cup. It's fun for the whole family and it's free. Don't miss it. The Angle Park gates open at 5:30pm. See you at the track. Visit grsa.com.au for more information. Gamble responsibly.
Visit 202greenhill.com.au and donate to cancer accommodation, research, prevention and support this April.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 9. We've just concluded a really interesting interview with Rebecca Sharkey, the independent member for Mayo, where I suspect the headline will be, and something we might read about in the Oz, David, is her indication that her preference would be, in the event there was no result returned that had a majority government, and she was forced to support one or other major party on issues of supply, that her first preference would be to go to the government, go to the incumbent, go to the Liberal Party, because her seat has historically voted that way, one, and two. And I thought this was a really interesting insight into her thinking, and it's something that I think is terrific. She said it shouldn't be up to one person to change the government.
Yeah, I thought that was actually a very humble and level-headed thing to say. Interesting when there's so many other people getting around in public life, in federal politics at the moment, who seem to get off on the idea of wielding an inordinate level of power. It showed a degree of welcome humility on the part of Rebecca Sharkey. But it would be music to the ears, though, of government, because overwhelmingly the independents who look like they might win seats, this is people like Zali Steggall trying to hold on in North Sydney, the woman who's threatening to unseat Josh Frydenberg in the blue chip Liberal seat of Kooyong. Overwhelmingly, they are people who are more inclined to support the Labor side of politics. So if it comes down to a charm offensive, which it will potentially, according to all the published polls at the moment, the fact that Rebecca Sharkey, based on the heritage of the seat and her desire not to just throw a weight around and unseat a sitting government, it's one name that they could cautiously pencil into the coalition side of the ledger.
The language she used was interesting too. She said she effectively gave them first right of refusal, not saying she'd back them,
right.
But she'll go to them with her shopping list first, if they can say that includes things like a federal ICAC, like the River Murray policy, housing issues in her seat. She made a point earlier in the interview too that with 10 seats in South Australia, it's really hard for us to be heard.
Yeah,
and that more independence might be the way to do it. I reckon there's something in that. I think there is something sweet. So we've always been very independent in this state with the way we've thought about politics. We've thrown up home of the Democrats. We've had, Nick Xenophon. We've had third-party forces be pretty strong historically here in South Australia.
That's why last week's breaking at 8 about how utterly late to the party the Libs have been in suburban seats was so important.
Yes.
Because, I was talking to someone on the Labor side who said, well, we've all been in this position before when we've been on the mat and down in the dumps after getting our butts kicked in an election, as just happened to the Libs at the state level a few weeks ago. But, Hindmarsh, it's only 6%.
Yeah.
So by not running a proper campaign this time, the Libs, there's every chance they'll turn into a 10% seat, which means that Hindmarsh becomes one of those places that's officially ignored by the federal government.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it's not even winnable.
Yeah. I reckon every South Australian watches the experience of people living in the hills and says, can't we have a bit of that?
Yeah, totally.
On matters of state, we started the program this morning talking to our listeners. We had some great stories from listeners. We had some terrific accents too from people who were among the original 10-pound POMs. Well, the Tourism Commission has resurrected some of the spirit of that for a 2022 campaign. The Tourism Minister, Zoe Bettinson's on the line. Zoe, good morning to you.
G'day, Will. How you going?
Yeah, well, so just explain to our listeners how this will work, because we're not talking about permanent settlement, are we? This is a tourism campaign.
Yeah, this is about those working holiday visas and getting them to come back to South Australia. So it is an exciting new campaign enticing young travellers who are either British or UK or Irish citizens to come out here. So it's a bit of a clever strategy to gain their attention. In order for them to come, they have to already have a working holiday visa, and they've got to get here before the 30th of September 2022.
And what's the sort of numbers that we're thinking of attracting here, Minister?
Well, look, the campaign we're running is about 200 flights, which will be for that £10 return. They've got to register on southaustralia.com and then fill out the form, the trail finders. But just to remind us, there were 27,000 working holiday visas that visited South Australia in 2019. So we certainly have a long way to go to build that back.
What are the sort of economics of it? Like, I would imagine there's taxpayer money involved. Qatar Airways wouldn't just be saying, "Yeah, we'll let people fly for $10 and take the hit." So what's the argument? What's the state benefit from doing this scheme?
Well, look, we are expecting it's about $400,000 of immediate economic impact for those 200 flights. And, of course, this is a combined campaign with the SA Tourism Commission, Qatar Airways and Trailfinders, which is one of the largest travel companies, particularly focused on young travellers in the UK.
Is there potential for a scheme like this to be expanded out to other countries, or is there something about our historic links with the UK that make it easy?
Oh, look, of course I'm going to look to other opportunities that are there, but look, traditionally about a third of working holiday visa makers are from the UK and Ireland. So this is, traditionally where that market is really strong.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison on 5AA Breakfast. All these sorts of little measures and things feel to me like the machinery of the world kicking back into gear post-COVID, but some of it needs a bit of oil.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't naturally the machine doesn't fire up after being mothballed for 2 years and
Bit
work
of stimulus.
perfectly. It needs a little bit of stimulus to get these things happening again.
Now, well, you know, I don't watch a lot of television other than news, sport, and cooking shows. I saw one of the best things I've seen on television ever last night. Back me up, folks. I reckon our listeners might have seen this. Matt Wright's Wild Territory.
These are some of the ones you've just caught?
Yeah.
Some fine-looking specimens there. You get out there catching bulls?
No, not me. When I'm 16, about 6 years, but a bit young for that yet.
Is that what your dad said?
Yeah, he reckons about them.
You'd be running the show in no time, eh?
Hope so.
Well, if you learn from Milton, one of the best in the business,
Yeah.
isn't he?
Yeah, 30 years he's been doing it, so he'd know a bit about it, I'd imagine.
30 years.
So he tells me.
So this bloke...
This is that 11-year-old kid he's talking to, who sounds like he's a 50-year-old bloke who's been living on the land.
Everyone in the show talks like that.
Sensational.
Even his wife, who's walking around with a shotgun shooting geese that they can cook for dinner.
Yeah.
This show's extraordinary. So Matt Wright is a crocodile wrangler, and the plot of last night's show, which I think was the first one, it's on Channel 9 at 9:30 on Tuesdays. He had to move a crocodile, a 5-metre-long saltwater crocodile called Beef Cheeks. They had to move it out of this river, and they helicoptered in a cow's carcass, and he made this trap, and he put like a baby monitor camera on the trap, tied a rope around the ankles of this cow, and had this camera ready to roll when Beef Cheeks, the crocodile, bit onto the carcass and yanked on it. It pulled this gate down behind the croc. And then this mad bastard with 3 of his mates, they just looked like they're total lunatics. They all climbed into a pen, this farm gate pen that was probably 4 by 4 metres. No, that'd be bigger than that because the croc's 5 metres. So I don't know, say like 8 metres. Like, there's not much wiggle room, not much croc-free zone inside this pen. And then they used what looked like the sort of rope you'd use tying an outdoor setting to the back of your ute, just an ordinary rope, and gaffer tape to tie around the croc's jaws and to gaffer its mouth shut. It was the most psychotic thing I've ever seen anybody do.
He's got Matt Wright. They have these top end safari camp that he runs. That is an awesome experience. If you want to go to the NT, we did it when we were there. The middle of last year, I think, when all the lockdown,
really?
when we were dodging the lockdown, we actually stayed at his top end safari camp, where you stay and camp out near Litchfield National Park, and the helicopter flights, you tours of the whole area, you go and see where he keeps the crocodiles all locked up and caged, and it's just the most incredible experience. It's just phenomenal.
The thing was, they got the croc. They were towing the croc in a boat that was smaller than the crocodile, and they had to keep its snout above the water because otherwise it would have drowned.
Yeah.
And they ran out of petrol. They couldn't.
Oh, no.
They couldn't. And this is where the episode's ended. So I can't wait to see the next one. But the croc, instead of being behind the boat, it got next to the boat, and it started rolling. And the episode ends with him going, "He's going to tip the boat over. He's going to tip the boat over." But it's just got this excellent Australian quality of being so totally underplaying everything. Like, they're looking at the croc, then they're looking at their boat, and one of the lads who's working with him goes, "We're going to need a bigger boat." And then he goes, "We don't have a bigger boat." And then the boat itself and all their cars, it looks like Mad Max.
Yeah.
Like they're driving sort of half 1985 Hiluxes that had the roofs chopped off them. I was watching it with Kate and I said, how insane is Australia? It's the coolest show.
Great text that sums it up. Someone's on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line said, great show. No, what health and safety there?
Oh.
No, there's not.
Oh, what about their kid too? There's a little toddler. They put him in this quad bike. He's not even wearing a baby capsule. Mum's holding the gun to go and shoot some geese. Sensational.
No such excitement on the 5AA Facebook live stream, but we'd love you to watch along all the same. There's just There's just David wrangling that goes on from time to time. Proudly partnering with the Cancer Council SA, 5AA Facebook and YouTube live stream. Let's check traffic. We'll be back with Behind Closed Doors shortly.
At Keswick on Anzac Highway, look out for a broken down car on the right-hand turn onto Green Hill Road, causing delays. Mawson Lake smash on Salisbury Highway and Eldersmith Drive with delays outbound, and Lobethal Carvey truck, Woodside Road at Ridge Road. Take care with oil on the road. Detours are in place there. Cameras Barossa Valley Way, Norriutpa, and Murray Street at Tanunda. Save big at Big W on the Dyson V7 Animal Origin handstick at only $449. Save $250. Offer ends May 8 at Big W while stocks last. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Boy, you're in for a school holiday treat at Reading Cinemas. Ooh, they must be watching Sonic the Hedgehog too. Oh, Sonic! You gotta love him! Guess what I'm about to see? I know how all you Potterheads feel about spoilers, but boy, am I excited to head back to the Wizarding World with Dumbledore and Grindelwald. Sorry. Fantastic Beasts, The Secret of Dumbledore is starting. Book your school holiday tickets now. Kids tickets from just $12 at readingcinemas.com.au.
Hey, it's Callum here. As a chef, I know that confidence in the kitchen equals success. The same goes for buying a new Mazda. You can feel confident in the team at Edwardstown Mazda because they've been doing it for years. Looking for something small, medium or large, Edwardstown Mazda have most models in stock, ready to drive away. But remember, everybody wants to drive a Mazda in 2022, so hurry.
It's gotta be
edwardstownmazda.com.au. LMVD 207428.
When you build a house, it's what's inside that matters. And that's why starting with steel is a smart choice to protect your most valuable investment. My mates at Weeks have always been the experts in steel frames. They've built thousands of homes for South Aussies, precision-engineered Superlock steel frames, providing you with more certainty and your home with more strength and durability. So make the smart choice when building a new home. Start with a steel frame, and you'll enjoy more peace of mind for years to come. Discover different with Weeks Homes.
Booze Brothers. Beat the others cold.
At Booze Brothers, you'll always find something for Mum. Make her day sparkle with Bubbles boutique wines, small batch handmade SA gin, or a splash of pink rosé. Find it all and more in-store or online at Booze Brothers, the Umley, Avenues Tavern, Mile End Hotel, the Duck Inn, and online. Booze Brothers, making mums happy for almost 40 years.
Booze Brothers.
Beat the others cold.
The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving you the chance to live mortgage-free in Henley Beach with a $4 million grand prize. Fully furnished and ready for you to move in. The 4-bedroom Scott Salisbury home has it all, including $1 million cash. Just imagine your housewarming party. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures and improved care for every South Australian. Licence M141166.
We don't just say we're local. We are local. 9 News is made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Help create a home for South Australians impacted by cancer. Visit 202greenhill.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 minutes to 9. We'll get some more text in a moment on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. We've got an Uggs to You voucher to give away as well. It's coming into Uggs season. As we look at the weekend's weather too, we don't get above 20 on multiple days. So we'll give that away before 9 o'clock as well to someone who's participated in the program this morning. We gave away a TV Shopping Network voucher to Jeanette a little bit earlier, told us the story of her husband, the Yorkshireman, who came to Australia as a 10-pound pom and ended up being more Australian than most of us. He went to Erbray, became a jackaroo.
Now down there living in God's country, walking his dog this morning at Selleck's Beach.
And it's his birthday.
Yeah, happy 78th.
Happy 78th. All right, it's time to go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind
$13.95. Adelaide's 5AA. This is Richard Pascoe.
Yes, it's me, Richard Pascoe, the Adelaide Tech Guy. You may have heard of me because I'm on every radio show in the world. The Adelaide Cabaret Festival is coming up, and one of the shows that's going to be on at the Dunstan Playhouse is a show that I'm not going to tell you anything about, and I'm going to interview the person in it. His name's Gary Pinto, but I'm not going to tell you anything about him as well, apart from the fact that he's in the show as well, and that I pre-recorded this interview as well. So hands up anybody who thinks stuff is going to go wrong. Okay. Right now is Gary Pinto, and I've been a big fan of yours for a long time. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks, Richard. Thanks for having me.
I love soul music. Oh, there's a clue as to what your show might be.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's what we all grew up on, you know. It's the,
Right, let's
it's
get
the
it
basis
going.
for all the kind of pop music today.
Right now, Gary
it's
Pinto.
It's a great blessing to be able to sing it, you know, for a living.
I love talking to you. I'm really looking forward to the show because it has a lot.
Yeah, good memory. We had so much fun as a...
And we'll go back to that Gary Pinto interview. I really liked chatting with him, and I hope you get to hear it. Let's talk to someone on the phone about tech issues, because a lot of people have trouble with technology, and I'm here to fix it for you. Hello, Nick.
Oh, g'day, Richard. How's it going?
Yeah, pretty good. I'm looking forward to hearing the Gary Pinto interview because it's really a really good interview, that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it too.
Yeah, but it's not working at the moment, and I bet Blakey has a field day with this one.
Yeah, I reckon he will. Have you tried turning it off and then turning it on again?
Yeah, I tried that.
Is it plugged in at the wall?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, throw it out and get a new one, Richard.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay.
Excellent. Richard had some great advice. I was listening to it on the weekend, though, on another matter that wasn't to do with the Gary Pinto interview, with regard to a scam that was targeting people purporting to be Jade Robrin. We got so much.
I got two texts from mates on Saturday afternoon, and some of our listeners will have seen it. Win, win, win. Just listen to the language here. Congratulations to the people we have chosen. Thank you for following us and supporting us all this time. Really, we are very happy. Now, there's someone using Google Translate trying to have a crack at getting Mandarin into passable Australian English. But the thing is, the visuals of it looked really convincing, because it was a picture of Tommy Wren and Jade win $20,000 cash for 20 winners, and it was all branded with, I'm looking at it now, all the 5AA logos. They're crafty, these people, aren't they?
I see the flow of traffic of people commenting on the 5AA Facebook page or sending messages to it. And there was a random moment on the weekend where suddenly there were 10 messages. Instantly people going, have I won $1,000?
Yeah, totally.
But you know what the pleasing thing was? And I'm sure this was, the ratio is different because there would have been other people that just probably believed it, unfortunately. Almost everyone went, I think this is a scam, but I'm just double checking.
I've never seen a scam like that using actual, media people all done up with graphics to make it look real.
I've seen Koshy has been the subject of this a fair bit. There's a lot of the advertising for dodgy investment groups overseas online that'll say why Australian experts trust us with their investment portfolio or something. It'll be Koshy standing there.
Yeah, right.
And he will often tweet about them or take a picture and say, I have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, right.
This is a total scam. But yeah, heartening to see people were sceptical of it, because I think you're okay as long as your first instinct is, if I didn't enter a competition or buy tickets, it's probably unlikely that I've been randomly selected to win thousands of dollars.
Lay some headline on me, bro.
Let's do it.
Pride of Erin. SA suspends rivalries to wish Phillips well on port return.
You wouldn't print that headline.
I would.
No, you wouldn't.
I would. Pride of Erin.
No.
What?
state of despair, or, you know.
Mate, an hour ago we were being all collegiate about
I know, but this is a headline.
No, that's a good headline. Pride of Erin. It's a feel-good story for SA. And I think Crows fans will see it that way too.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think you're right. I just wanted something with a bit of bombast in the headline.
What, like, you know, Crows betrayed?
Yeah, yeah.
Don't bang your head on the door on the way out, Philip. Something like that.
We flew as one.
Yeah. Shame of South Australia.
See, now you're talking.
Pride of Erin. We're sticking with that.
I like it. That was nice. We've got an Ugs to You voucher to give away as well to a texter. Is anyone that stood out?
Well, how about our Scottish caller? From
Andy.
Andy
from Henley Beach.
That was great.
Andy, you've got a $100 Ugs to You voucher coming your way.
Fantastic.
We love Ugs to You. Local manufacturers of superior handcrafted Australian Ugs. Visit Ugs to You, the corner of Grange and Frederick Road. Seaton, we give it to you in part as an apology.
Yeah, sorry.
For that take on your accent.
More of a David Spears impersonation, that one.
Graham Goodings coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow from 6.